Had a huge headache when it came to leveling up. Had a huge headache when it came to leveling up. Right now, he was at the first stage of Limitless, so ordinary demon beast in God-Living Mountain would definitely not be able to satisfy his leveling needs. Even if he killed a 4th-stage demon beast, the experience he would get now was only a few hundred points. Long Fei was very dissatisfied with such speed. However, other than the God-Living Mountain, was there any other good place to level up? Long Fei couldn't imagine. Moreover, tomorrow, Mu Changfeng would return to the North region. If the person who dealt with grandfather was really Mu Hatai, would he be able to be his match? Level 1 Everlasting. Even if there were God Shop S, they wouldn't be able to kill Mu Hatai. Not to mention that there were still many elders around him. Most likely, all of the elders in the Judgment Pavilion were his people. A headache. It really gives me a headache. Long Fei felt very uncomfortable. If others knew that he broke through to the Limitless from God State in a month, they would probably beat him to death. Other than leveling up, Long Fei still had one more thing to do. Identity. Mu Hatai was the acting patriarch of the Mu clan, and all the authority in the Mu clan was in his hands. If she wanted to suppress him, then she had to have a higher authority than him. Grandfather Mu Tianhe. Immediately, Long Fei asked, Zhangfeng, my grandfather. Heir, where's your master? I want to see him. Mu Changfeng hesitated for a few seconds, but said, Boss, my master is at the floating cliff. He is currently in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid you will not be able to see him. Hanging cliff, Long Fei muttered. Mu Changfeng said, Only the 7 of us know where master has gone in a closed-door cultivation. You are the 8th person. He does not wish to be disturbed. And this time, Grandpa is closed off to death. They did not know about Mu Tianhe's injuries. In the entire Mu clan, most likely only Long Fei knew about this. Mu Tianhe could only say that it was a closed-door cultivation to hide things from others. However, confining his life and death meant that Mu Tianhe was unable to break through, which meant that he would not be able to come out. Long Fei didn't say any more, and said, I understand. It's best if I can see them. It doesn't matter if I can't. But I'll go too. You guys should hurry to the North District tomorrow. Don't act rashly before I show up. Do you understand? Long Fei was worried that Mu Changfeng and the others wouldn't be able to suppress the fire. Their 7 strong men of North Region had Mu Tianhe's protection and had been in the Mu clan for so many years, but they had never been at a disadvantage before. Now that their cultivation had been crippled, their pubes had been destroyed, and their anger had reached the skies, if they returned to the Mu clan and found out who the mastermind was, they would definitely not be able to hold back. Mu Changfeng said, We will remember. You have to remember that I'm not coming. Even if you know the purpose of crippling you, even if you know who the mastermind is, you have to endure it. If I come, you can do whatever you want. Long Fei warned again. Mu Changfeng also nodded. All right, I will remember. All right, you guys go and prepare. The 7 of them left. Long Fei stood in place and asked, Dragon Quang, when will they be able to cultivate a demonic attack? Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 had only planted their own demonic seeds and had not truly stepped into the demonic way. Even if you were to cultivate now, it would be useless. Long Quangdao, the magic seed has yet to sprout, so the magic attack cannot be cultivated. They still need hatred, a greater hatred, but it should be soon. When their magic seeds sprout, then even if they become demonic cultivators, you don't have to worry about the cultivation of their magic arts. When their magic seeds sprout, then even if they become demonic cultivators, you don't have to worry about the cultivation of their magic arts. Everything had been arranged by the dragon. Now, they were waiting for the magic seed in Mu Changfeng's mind to sprout. Long Fei said, There won't be any danger, right? There must be dangers. The reason why it's called demonic art is because it is more dangerous than ordinary cultivation techniques. However, they could even withstand the pain of the pubes ripping apart and recovering, so releasing the devil arts shouldn't be a problem. Long Quang answered, Master, you can't worry about them. I know you don't believe in fate, but everyone has their own destiny. Life and death are decided by fate. Long Fei nodded and said, I understand. And then, Long Fei moved, gold fur. Boom! The giant golden-furred ape heavily landed, directly beside Long Fei. Long Fei leapt up and landed behind the golden-furred man, saying, "Go to the hanging cliff." At the same time, the idea moved, making God's pavilion call back the undead ghost who was lurking in the darkness. Only one undead ghost was searching outside. As long as Undead Lord appeared in God Living Mountain, he would definitely be able to find him. The Undead Lord was simply too strong, and Long Fei had no other choice. The only thing he could do now was to settle the internal affairs of the Mu clan first. Boom! Boom! The golden hair leaped continuously, disappearing without a trace in the span of half a breath. An hour later, Long Fei arrived at the floating cliff. A cliff that hung in the middle of a cliff was very special. It was also extremely hidden. If he hadn't been here, he wouldn't have been able to find it. "Huff! Grandfather, are you okay?" Long Fei said softly as he jumped down from the golden hare's back, walking towards the hanging cliff. The hanging cliff was not big, but rather very small. There were barely 2 people standing on the entire cliff. It looked like a protruding rock, and this place could undergo closed-door cultivation. Grandpa is in this place. Long Fei was puzzled, flying to the edge of the cliff. Not to mention a cave, he couldn't even find a single crack in this place. Just a stone. Did I go to the wrong place? Long Fei went around it again, and suddenly realized that there was an extremely small door on top of the stone, and on the door there were 3 words carved on top of the door, "Hanging Cliff." "It's really here? Grandfather, are you inside?" Long Fei couldn't help but shout out. Immediately, the door slowly opened. How can I enter such a small door? Just as Long Fei was thinking about these, the door seemed to be opening endlessly, opening, and reopening. In the end, it became incomparably huge. Long Fei was completely shocked. Is this the power of space? "Xiao Fei, come in," Mu Tianhe said in an aged voice. Long Fei also walked in. When he walked in, the door began to shrink and finally returned to its original shape. Mu clan. Mu Yuding said, "Patriarch, young Master Mu and Mu Ro have been settled as well." "Yes." Muatai nodded his head in satisfaction. Now that the 7 strongmen of North Region was crippled, the entire North Region of the Mu clan was filled with his people. It could be said, the current him in Mu clan was truly able to cover the sky with one hand. However, he had a nail in his heart. Mu Tianhe. Mu Yuding said, "Patriarch, since you know that Mu Tianhe is cultivating at the hanging cliff, do you want to—" The corner of Muhatai's mouth hooked up coldly and said, "No rush. 7 strongmen of North Region has yet to return to the North Region. I want to use them to discredit Mu Tianhe. I want everyone to know that the people Mu Tianhe chose are a bunch of trash. When his reputation is in ruins, it will be the time to execute him." "Ha!" Muatai laughed out wildly. Floating cliff. Floating cliff. In a secret place in God Living Mountain. This place was also an unknowable place. This stone had existed since the birth of the ancient world. It was because of its existence that the Mu clan became stronger and became the ancient family. Mu clan's spatial energy was also cultivated out from this rock. It could be said, without this floating stone, there would be no Mu clan. But only the patriarch of the Mu clan knew of this. The people of this world only knew of the hanging cliff and not what was inside. Even Muhatai didn't know. He had only found the hanging cliff, which was a place of bitter cultivation. It was of no other use to him. The floating stone was a special space. After Long Fei stepped in, he felt his body shrinking nonstop, and in the end, fell onto the ground like an ant. Raising his head, what he saw was an endless dark night sky, boundless and vast. Long Fei knew that it wasn't that he had become small, but the world inside the stone had grown larger. Is this the power of spatial transfer? Damn, he's truly amazing. He's truly amazing. Long Fei could not help but sigh secretly. His heart was in shock. Then he looked ahead and shouted, "Grandfather!" A voice came from the darkness. "Stay where you are." After he finished speaking, a white light flashed beneath Long Fei's feet. "Buzz!" His body instantly entered a special space, and before he could even react, he appeared in front of an altar in less than half a breath. An old man with white hair sat on the altar. It was Long Fei's grandfather, Mu Tianhe. It was just that, compared to the first time he had met her, Mu Tianhe seemed to have aged a little, and his face was slightly pale. He was still heavily injured. If not for his worry for Long Fei, he definitely would not have allowed Long Fei to enter. Seeing Long Fei, Mu Tianhe said, "Child, how did you know I was here? What are you doing here?" Long Fei walked onto the altar and saw the jar beside his grandfather. It was precisely used by him to hold the golden-furred spirit blood, and thought to himself, "If I want to use the fairy beast as a guide, then I must be seriously injured." Long Fei answered, "Grandfather, it was Mu Changfeng and the others who told me." "Zhang Feng, how do you know him?" Mu Tianhe stared blankly for a moment. He knew that Long Fei was in the Eastern District and Mu Changfeng was in the Northern District. There was a hint of blame in his words. This was also worrying about Long Fei. It has to be said that Mu Wanner wasn't welcomed in the Mu clan. He even scoffed. Long Fei replied, "No, because I saved 7 people of Changfeng. They only told me because they knew I had urgent business with you." "You saved them." Mu Tianhe was even more shocked now. She looked at Long Fei. His eyes flashed as he said excitedly, "In just a short span of time, you have already reached the infinite realm." "Ha ha! Your mother once said that you would be a genius, a peerless genius. At that time, I didn't believe it, but now, in the entire ancient world, who can compare to you? To be able to reach the infinity realm from the God state in 1 month. If you had not been standing in front of me, I would not have believed that, even at the time of the birth of ancient world, only Long Batian, the ancestor of a dragon clan, could achieve such a feat." Mu Tianhe was incomparably excited. He never thought that Long Fei's cultivation speed would actually be this fast. It was too valiant. Long Batian's cultivation is also very fast? Long Fei asked. Mu Tianhe said, "Of course, the reason he can become the #1 cultivator in ancient world is because his cultivation speed is incomparable to others. He only took half a month's time to go from God state to the realm of the greatest powers in the ancient times. At that time, our old patriarch was still a God state. Long Batian is a complete pervert. These things were all recorded in the Mu clan. After all, Mu clan was also a family that had existed since the ancient times. 1.5 months, from the God state to the ancient powers. Is this speed like a rocket?" Long Fei was in disbelief. Even the most powerful of geniuses would not be able to reach this degree of speed. Cultivating was a step by step, and going too fast was not beneficial. Most cultivators would break through a level and stabilize themselves before breaking through to a higher level. Long Batian's speed, did he not need to stabilize his cultivation at all? Or could it be? Long Fei thought of himself and muttered in his heart, "Long Batian is also a system owner? Impossible, right?" Without waiting for Long Fei to think further, Mu Tianhe asked, "Even if you saved Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7, they still wouldn't tell you where I am." Long Fei didn't think about Long Batian anymore. Instead, he smiled and said, "I saved them twice. Twice. I told them to kill the fairy beast at the bottom of the waterfall. Then this fairy beast, spirit blood." Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei again and suddenly understood and asked, "You were the one who gave the fairy beast spirit blood?" Long Fei replied honestly, "Yes, when I found out that their master was you, I was worried. I wanted to come and see you very much, but I was afraid that I would disturb your seclusion. Also, the last war beast that Mu Changfeng and the others hunted the fairy beast became. This jar's spirit blood was voluntarily released by him. Grandfather, are these spirit blood enough? If it's not enough, I'll give you a bit more. He's near the hanging cliff." Long Fei said. Mu Tianhe acted as if he was listening to a fairy tale. He was completely stupefied. His heart was incomparably shocked. If Long Fei wasn't his nephew, he definitely wouldn't have believed it. Thinking about the matter of Long Fei being his nephew, Mu Tianhe couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Ha ha, ha ha! Good boy. Grandfather was wrong to blame you just now. Ha ha. My nephew, aha. He was as happy as a 3-year-old who got a candy. He was truly happy. It had been a long time since he had been this happy. To be able to make an old man happy, Long Fei also followed and laughed. After laughing for a few minutes, he continued to cough and stopped. Only then did Mu Tianhe ask, "Oh yes, you said that you have something to talk to me about. What is it?" Long Fei said, "Undead Lord is coming to the God-living mountain." Mu Tianhe was not surprised at all and said indifferently, "With his sinister and ruthless nature, he will definitely come to the Mu clan to seek revenge. I will return the favor. The moment the Undead Lord comes, the entire Mu clan will immediately go into seclusion at Turtle Mountain." Long Fei said, "There's also a problem inside the Mu clan." Huh? Mu Tianhe was startled. "What happened?" Long Fei said, "Mu Chongfeng's group of 7 has had their cultivation destroyed, and Pubi's S crippled as well. But you don't have to worry, I have saved them, only has allowed them to step into the path of evil." Long Fei did not dare to hide the truth. He couldn't hide it from his grandfather. He had to know about this matter after all. Mu Tianhe's eyes also tightened. Devil Dao. Seeing his grandfather's gaze, Long Fei's heart trembled. Seeing his grandfather's gaze, Long Fei's heart trembled. Demonic cultivators were despised by others. Many families in ancient family hated demonic cultivators. Mu Chongfeng was grandfather's disciple, so he could step into the ranks of the ancient almighty powerhouse S within the next 1,000 years. How would he accept this? Long Fei said, "At that time, I had no other choice. If they had entered the demonic Dao, their cultivation would have been lost, and their talent would have been restricted. I could only..." Ha ha. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Mu Tianhe smiled and said, "Silly boy, no matter what you do, grandfather won't be angry. Because you're my nephew, and you are saving my disciple." Mu Tianhe was not angry and laughed happily. Long Fei was also shocked. Mu Tianhe said, "They have their cultivation and Pubi's S crippled, but they are not dead?" Long Fei nodded. "Amen. I think they're using Mu Chongfeng's group of 7 to belittle you, and let everyone in Mu clan know that your chosen disciple is just so useless." Mu Tianhe let out a light breath of air, looked at the dark night sky, and muttered, "Hitai, Hitai, looks like you still haven't let bygones be bygones. I've already said that it's a closed-door training. Can't you wait a few more years? Do you think I can live this time?" Sigh. Mu Tianhe did not have the intention to pass the patriarch seat to Mu Hitai this time. He just didn't have a surface. In fact, he clearly knew that the injuries he had received this time was too heavy, and he had no way of recovering. He could not escape, and would end up like the ancestor of the Mu clan, dying inside the floating stone to release the power in his body, causing the spatial energy in the floating stone to become slightly stronger. But now, Mu Tianhe sighed in his heart. However, there was nothing he could do now. It had only been a month, and the Mu clan had changed. This showed that Mu Hitai had been planning and planning for the past few years, and most likely, the people in the northern region were all Mu Hitai's people. The Judgment Pavilion must be doing the same. Even if he were to emerge from seclusion now, he would probably be ousted by the Judgment Pavilion, unless they suppressed it with force. However, his cultivation had yet to recover to the first layer, and he was also injured, so he was no match for him at all. Coming out of seclusion was completely useless. Mu Tianhe said, "Xiao Fei, don't worry about anything. Leave Mu clan as soon as possible. The further the better." Right now, he was not worried about anyone. He was only worried about Long Fei. His nephew's place in his heart was so important that he was his daughter's only son. Long Fei said, "Grandfather, this is your family. I am your nephew. How can I watch him die? And it's because of me." Mu Tianhe said, "If Mu Hitai doesn't listen to me, then Mu clan will definitely be massacred by Undead Lord, and even God-living mountain will be destroyed. Undead Lord is too powerful." Long Fei said, "So I want to control the Mu clan as soon as possible and let him hide in Turtle Mountain." Mu Tianhe said, "Mu Hitai has grasped onto the position with great difficulty. He will definitely not give up, and with my current condition, I will not be able to help you. Xiao Fei, we still have time right now. Hurry up and leave this place. After leaving the God-living mountain, head towards the western polar region. That is the Bedlam lands, the starting point of the ancient world. Entering there will be difficult for the undead lord to find you. Don't worry about Mu clan. Mu Tianhe was very clear about the current situation. Muatai would never enter Turtle Mountain. Long Fei was also not Muatai's match when he left. One must know that Muatai was an ancient almighty powerhouse, and not only him, there were several in Mu clan. If they stayed, they would only be killed by the undead lord. The only way was to leave. The farther the better. To Long Fei, the most western primal chaos grounds was the best place for him. Primal chaos. His aura would be concealed, and inside was a muddled world. It would be even harder to find a person there than to find a needle in a haystack. However, Long Fei did not want to give up. This guy was a boss. It was a super boss. Long Fei was simply unwilling to give up. Thus, Long Fei said, "Grandfather, I need your identity jade token." Mu Tianhe said, "It's useless, even if I am to exit now. I will not be able to suppress Muatai. He will definitely not treat you seriously. If you reveal your identity, he will probably immediately kill you. Xiao Fei, you must not reveal your identity. Do you understand? Right now, I wonder how many people in ancient world want to kill you. Once your identity is exposed, I'm afraid you will never have another peaceful day ahead of you." Long Fei said, "Grandfather, is there no other way?" Mu Tianhe said, "Even though your cultivation speed is very fast, your current cultivation level is still too low. Just listen to me." Without waiting for Mu Tianhe to finish speaking, Long Fei asked, "Grandfather, this floating rock contains a huge world inside of it." "Air," Mu Tianhe said, "this floating rock was discovered by Mu clan, and because this rock allowed us Mu clan to grasp the power of space, if one were to say whether or not this rock is a special space, what is the special space you speak of?" The Mu clan had not developed much of the world inside the floating stone. They hadn't even been to many places. Their control of space could be considered the strongest in the ancient world, but in the entire universe, it could not be described with the word weak. It was very, very weak. Long Fei asked, "A place that must be filled with demon beast." "A place filled with demon beast." Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei and said, "There is but the demon beast inside are too dangerous and are not ancient world's demon beast at all. Their blood vein are all special, and the patriarch of the Mu clan had once entered there. If it did not grasp the power of space, he would probably die inside." Long Fei's eyes released a gold light and said, "I want to go to such a perverted place." Suddenly, Long Fei was as if he had discovered a new continent. He was excited. The demon beast of the God-living mountain had already made it impossible for him to level up in a short period of time. He had to have an even stronger demon beast to kill it. If the space that my grandfather mentioned still had demon beastess, then it would definitely be the best place to level up. If those demon beasts were still foreign demon beast. Wow! Long Fei could not help but gulp down his saliva. As long as he had enough demon beast to hunt, let alone half a month's time, it would be enough for him to enter the realm of an ancient almighty being. Long Batian leveled up quickly. I can do the same. If the demon beast in the spatial space had a lot of experience, Long Fei could break Long Batian's record. One had to know that he had not even cultivated for a month and a half. No way. It's too dangerous. Mu Tianhe immediately said. Long Fei said, "Grandfather, believe me, I will definitely live, and this is probably the only way to save Mu clan." Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei. After a long time, Mu Tianhe said solemnly, "Then promise me, the situation isn't right, we will leave immediately." Long Fei smiled excitedly and said, "All right." The more abnormal a place was, the more Long Fei liked it. The more abnormal a place was, the more Long Fei liked it. This was a little special. There was no helping it. A perverted place like this could not satisfy him. He could only quickly level up in perverted areas. As long as he could level up, he would go there no matter how perverted it was. Mu Tianhe took out a purple stone and there were some inscriptions on the stone that Long Fei could not understand. This is a dimensional teleportation stone. If you crush it, you will be teleported out. Xiao Fei, remember, don't try to be brave. Long Fei nodded his head. Grandfather, I will remember. Right. Grandfather, what do you need to heal your injuries? This was what Long Fei was worried about. Mu Tianhe smiled benevolently and said, My injuries are fine. You don't have to worry about me. At this time, Long Quang suddenly said, Your grandfather's 3 gods were all injured. Long Fei's heart trembled and said, 3 gods. Long Quang Dao, divine sense, spiritual sense, and divine soul are known as the 3 gods. The last time we faced the undead lord's flying fire crow, it should have been forcefully withstood. Long Fei asked, Is there a way? Long Quang shook his head. The 3 gods are seriously injured. Even with the heavenly vine, it's hard to cure them, unless you can find something that can replace the 3 gods. I don't know if there's anything in ancient world that can replace the 3 gods. Mu Tianhe's injuries were too severe. This was not something that could be cured with normal medicinal herbs. The fairy beast also only provided him with a little bit of profound qi. After recovering for a bit, it was basically impossible for him to recover. This was also the reason why Mu Tianhe said that they would close their doors for life and death. He was well aware of his injuries. The moment he entered the floating cliff, he had already thought about it. If he were to die here, he would use his own energy to make the floating cliff stronger. Find something better to replace the 3 gods. Long Fei frowned. At this moment, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest Save Mu Tianhe. Task level, task time, unlimited task reward, unknown. Huh, you trigger the quest? Long Fei was not shocked because of the mission's trigger, but because the reward for the mission was unknown. This had never happened before. What was going on? Unknown reward? That means we can calculate it when the time comes. Ding! Do you accept? Long Fei moved and said, Accepted. Even if this mission didn't have any rewards, he would still accept it. This was his grandfather, and even if there was a chance, he would still work hard. Child, are you ready? Mu Tianhe said softly. Long Fei replied, MHM. The aura on Mu Tianhe's body trembled slightly. His 2 fingers quickly formed seals, and one rune after another dropped down from his body. Within a few seconds, buzz! With a flash of white light, Long Fei disappeared from his spot. Mu Tianhe also spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning even paler. Releasing any form of spatial force was an extremely difficult task for him right now. Seeing Long Fei disappear, Mu Tianhe let out a heavy sigh. The 3 gods were heavily injured. I'm afraid that I have reached the end of my life. Wan Air, where are you? I've seen your child. He's very good, even better than I imagined. Daddy feels honored for you. But I can't help him with my old bones. Sigh. I hope that his future path will be smooth and healthy. Mu Tianhe closed his eyes. His breathing became very light. The power of the spatial energy that he had released earlier had burned all of the time he had spent in meditation for the past month. His lifespan was about to run out, and then there was Long Fei. A white light flashed for another half a second. He appeared in another space. The power of space is amazing. If I can control the power of space, then where would I go? Long Fei sighed at the mysticality of the power of space. However, at this moment, boom, an incomparably sharp slash came crashing down. Long Fei felt a chill on his back, and his body sank slightly as he felt a strong pressure. Long Quang also immediately warned, Master, be careful. Behind you. Long Fei's reaction speed was also godlike, his body rushing forward, suddenly moving sideways. Chua! The force of the slash landed, almost touching Long Fei's face. It cut down, a small crack appearing on the ground. If the slash landed, Long Fei would probably be split into 2. A layer of dense sweat seeped out of Long Fei's forehead. Looking carefully, he asked, Nothing. It was completely blank. Forget about demon beast S. They didn't even have any beast hair on them. It was very strange. That's not right. Long Fei's pupils contracted as he felt a trace of killing intent. He was extremely sensitive to killing intent. He could feel it as long as it was there, and the killing intent was emitted right in front of him. Moreover, his view was quickly confirmed. Long Fei dodged one slash and followed up with another. Shua, a force that was like a half moon, was visible to the naked eye. It directly descended from the sky and slashed at Long Fei. This slash was twice as fast as the one just now. What the F***CK? Long Fei cursed angrily. With a move of his right hand, he summoned his Dong Huang sword and shouted, "God Sword Spirit." The sword chi condensed. It instantly became a sword. In that instant, Long Fei released all of his limitless realm power. Both of his hands gripped onto his sword and slashed at the released cut chi. It was tough. The two forces collided. Rumble. Long Fei's body was instantly sent flying. The moment the two forces clashed, Long Fei's sword chi was penetrated, with only a slight sound of impact. And then the power pierced through. He had never seen such power before. Damn, what? Awesome. The instant Long Fei landed, his gaze locked onto that spot. Immediately, his footsteps moved as he quickly launched an attack. Bang, bang, bang. A series of trampling sounds appeared on the ground, and in an instant, it reached the location that Long Fei had locked onto. 8 Tyrant Fist. Bam! The punch landed. At the same time, a monster appeared in their line of sight, as if it had broken out of invisibility. The moment Long Fei saw it, his eyes flashed with a trace of excitement. Steel-blooded warrior, and the way it looks in the movies. He wore a suit of armor and a helmet. Beneath the helmet was the face of an alien outsider. It was extremely ugly, with a sharp steel blade attached to his waist. The steel knife was not ordinary. The body was revealed, as was the bloody groove on the top of his head. 100,000 HP. The last strike only produced a few hundred points of damage. Then this demon beast must have a lot of experience, right? Long Fei smirked and quickly rushed forward. He did not care about the steel-blooded warrior or any other living thing. What he wanted now was experience. What he wanted was to level up. Quickly level up. Experience is everything. Experience is everything. Experience was an upgrade. Upgrade was power. As long as one was strong enough, they could kill the Emperor Xian. The Death Emperor Xian was the reason for Long Fei's visit to the divine space. Thus, at this moment, Long Fei did not hesitate at all. He needed to quickly end the battle. God's Chop. Instant kill skill. As long as it was within the killing range, everything could be killed. Whether it was demon beast, expert, or foreign creatures, it was the same. It could instantly kill anyone within its range. Ding. Target lock. Ding. Are you releasing it? Release. Long Fei held onto the Dong Huang sword with both of his hands and slashed at it. The Iron Blood Warrior did not stay where he was. He also released an even more powerful slash towards Long Fei. This slash carried a blood-red glow. Rumble. The two slashes collided once more. Long Fei had a lot of confidence in the God's Chop. As long as it was locked on, no one would be able to escape. However, right now, he was not worried about the God's Chop, but about himself. If that power pierced through the God's Chop again, then his own little life. When Long Fei released his slash, he immediately prepared himself. The two forces collided. At this moment, something strange happened. Ding! God's Chop experience plus 1,000 points. Suddenly, a system announcement sounded out. This made Long Fei a little confused. God's Chop can also gain experience? Damn, why didn't I notice this before? Could it be that the God's Chop can level up? If it leveled up, then wouldn't that increase the area of effect for its skill? Thinking of all these, Long Fei became extremely excited. The higher the level, the more invincible his God's Chop is. He could actually gain EXP now? Was it because he had absorbed a sufficiently powerful slashing force? The two sides clashed. This time, the demon beast's power did not pierce through, but was completely absorbed by the God's Chop. That fellow was extremely shocked and stood rooted to the spot. At the same time, the God's Chop's power fell. Rumble. The wound on his head started bleeding. 99,989 inch. They did not die instantly, but they had hit an extremely violent number. Furthermore, Long Fei had dealt a few hundred points of damage with one strike of the 8 Tyrant Fist. Thus, this demon beast's health point had turned into 0. Dead. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders, for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Alien God Soul. 2 notifications sounded. Long Fei was shocked. 1,000,000 experience points? What a lie. Isn't this experience too great? Long Fei was so excited that he almost drooled. Haha. I'm rich. I'm rich. Apart from experience. And there was one more item which had dropped. The soul of the alien outsider. Soul. One of the 3 gods. Long Fei immediately asked, Long Quang, why don't you show us the soul of this foreign race as a substitute? Long Quang carefully examined it and said, Master, this is a foreign object. I don't know if it can be used in my stead. However, Old Man Mu's cultivation is at the peak of an ancient supreme expert, and his soul is very powerful. If he wants to replace Old Man Mu, he needs to find a soul that is strong enough. It will be very helpful to Old Man Mu. In short, this fellow's soul wasn't strong enough. Mu Tian's level was too high, so if they wanted to help him, they would need to acquire a higher level of divine soul. Long Fei replied, Understood. This is only the first demon beast. Since there was a demon beast in this special space, then there was something else. If there was anything else, then there must be a boss. He just needed to kill the boss. The 3 gods would definitely be able to give it to grandfather. Thinking of this, Long Fei became excited again. However, he realized this now. He had to rely on his God's Chop, but his God's Chop's cooldown time was fixed. 24 hours. The only possibility was if he kept chopping, but the holy source value of continuously chopping at Long Fei was simply unable to hold up. It would probably take a lot of time to meet another demon beast like this one. Plus, he had to hurry back to the North region tomorrow morning. Otherwise, Mu Changfeng and the others would definitely be in trouble. At this time, Long Fei checked the God's Chop's cooldown. He didn't know when to look, but he was completely stupefied when he saw it. No cooldown? The God's Chop no longer had a cooldown. It could continue to cut down, and it would not consume many times the amount of EXP. This really was a bit of a freak. Long Fei moved to check the God's Chop's current status and stats. God's Chop instant killing system currently. He was in a special space, and the cooldown time had been eliminated. Leave this space and recover your cooldown time. So that's how it is. Long Fei was a little disappointed. He was still thinking that he could continuously slash God's Chop S outside. If that was the case, he wouldn't need to have any more scruples. However, good. The demon beast here had a lot of experience, and if the God's Chop could absorb the experience, maybe it could even level up and become stronger in the end. This was true, and there would be no geographical restrictions. Shua, a sky-slashing attack was aimed at Long Fei. He's here. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly. He became excited and said, It's starting. He attacked with his God's Chop S. Boom. The slashing forces collided. Shua. Ding. System notification. God's Chop has gained 600 experience points. Seems like different strengths will result in different experience points. Long Fei muttered and shouted at the top of his lungs, Hey, stupid dog, is that all you've got? Not enough to see. Woo-woo. With an angry low cry, a black shadow flashed out. It reached above Long Fei's head and slashed down heavily. In that instant, Long Fei pulled out his sword, God's Chop. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has received 1,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders. You have obtained 1,000,000 points of experience points, 10,000 points of Holy Source S, and 1 point of striking value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining other races' consciousness. Continue. All of you come out. I want to fight 100. Long Fei let out a loud roar. Next, one by one, the armored black figures appeared, all of them holding on his silver long blades, staring at Long Fei. 1,000,000, 2,000,000, 3,000,000. If I kill 10 of you now, I will break through to the second grade of limitless. You have at least a few hundred here. I'm rich, I'm really rich. For Long Batian to be able to break through the realm of an ancient almighty in 1.5 months from the god state, I can do the same, and I can be even faster than you. Ha! Long Fei's heart became restless, and his blood started to boil. His 2 hands holding onto the Dong Huang's sword tightly. Looking at the god's chop that had not cooled down, he grinned and said, "Let's do it." In that instant, Long Fei entered a crazy, abnormal level mode. God's chop, rumble, ding, system notification. God's chop has received 1,000 experience points. Ding, congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsider. You have received 100,000 experience points, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding, congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 3rd rank. I leveled up again. It's only been less than 10 minutes. This is great. Long Batian reached the realm of an ancient almighty in half a month's time. If the demon beast here could maintain its experience points, then this daddy could upgrade to the realm of an ancient almighty in a day. Long Batian, watch me break your record. Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly and slashed out at the incoming Iron Blood Warrior's demon beast, God's Chop. There was no pause at all. Long Fei wanted to break Long Batian's record, because Long Batian made him very unhappy. He was obviously very powerful, but why did he keep going against him? He had clearly gotten rid of Long Batian, but it was Long Lin again. Without his consent, he forced him to sign the contract. He wanted something from him. What do you want of him? Was he going to die? Do you want the pubes? Or do you want the system? It was all possible. All of these things made Long Fei very unhappy. He did not care what happened to Long Batian in the past, but he was him. He had nothing to do with Long Batian. Then you'll have to bring seed. Long Fei had never been a soft persimmon. Whether it was Emperor Xian or Long Batian, he had never been afraid of them. Kill, rumble, rumble. The sword chi clashed, and the god chop absorbed another 1,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 4th rank. Another level up. Until now, Long Fei had already leveled up to level 4, and there were still countless Iron Blood Warrior in the sky, which he could still kill crazily. However, there was one thing that Long Fei was puzzled about. Up till now, the God Chop had still not leveled up even though it had absorbed all of the experience points. There was no sign of an upgrade. Even without slashing Long Fei, he still paid attention to the strength of God's Chop. There was no improvement at all. The amount of damage he received was 99,989 points, which was the same as the previous attack. In other words, the attacks of the God's Chop did not change. If it also needs experience to level up, then isn't that leveling speed too slow? Or is it that it won't level up at all? The experience points gained is only one of his energies? Long Fei guessed he really wanted to know the effect of the God's Chop leveling up. What would that be like? But he still wasn't able to level up? Huff! Forget it. If the God Chop doesn't level up, I can just level up. Continue slashing. Long Fei's eyebrows tightened as he locked onto a demon beast, and it heavily slashed down. Walala! 99,989. Again. Shwa! God's Chop without cooldown was just like infinite fire, even more abnormal than infinite fire. The skill did not have any cooldown, as long as you were fast enough. His speed is fast. Yes. I can't go on like this. It's too slow to level up like this. With so many demon beasts around, if I kill them all at this speed, I would probably reach the Howren realm at most. What I want is the ancient realm. I want to break Long Batian's record. Then, is it time to use your hand speed? Long Fei smiled. He did not want to miss this opportunity. Thus, In the next second, he held the sword in both hands and made a sword-drawing gesture. His eyebrows sank, his eyes flashed, and his heart quieted down. In that instant, his eyes locked onto a group of demon beasts. Huff! He breathed softly. His two hands suddenly pulled back. Chop! Schwa! 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 His hand speed was so fast that it was almost dazzling. His two hands continuously drew his sword, examining it, slashing it, and there was no gap at all. It was extremely fast. Furthermore, every slash contained the strength of a god's chop. Boom, boom, boom. The sky continuously exploded. Those demon beasts also retaliated, but their energy was completely absorbed by the god's chop, and they themselves were heavily injured. A fixed damage number floated above his head. Kill! Kill! Walala! It was incomparably fast, almost perfect. It's not a waste of my 20 years hand speed on Earth. It seems like it's quite useful, haha. His hand speed rose, and his experience points began to rise crazily. The speed at which the experience bar was growing was visible to the naked eye. This speed was perfect. Long Fei became even more excited and started to attack without caring about anything else. At the same time, all the surrounding demon beasts started attacking him. He would be hit from time to time, bleed, and be hit while lying on the ground. However, as long as he didn't die, he didn't care. Because, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. He had the resurrection in situ effect from leveling up. The moment he leveled up, all the pain in his body would be gone. He was simply like a bug. Kill. Boom. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. His hand were so fast that it seemed as if his arms had been dislocated. The striking value was already full. However, Long Fei was reluctant to use it. He was afraid that the boss striking value was not full, and that would be a huge loss. Moreover, the longer the striking value overlapped with the items that were dropped, the better. Endure it. Endure it. Long Fei constantly reminded himself that he must definitely endure the enticement and not use his striking value carelessly. Rumble. 2 hours later. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for leveling up. Wow, this speed, this is so F***king satisfying. It's even better than drinking it. The Howren realm. I'm just 9 levels away from breaking through to the primordial era. I really hope that there are some demon beasts here that can't be killed. However, it was clear that the number of demon beasts here was crazily decreasing. Long Fei killed them too quickly. The surrounding demon beast could no longer hold on for much longer, but there were still a lot of them. At this rate, it was possible for him to break through to the ancient realm. An hour passed. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at level 2. 2 hours passed. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 3rd rank. 3 hours passed. He leveled up once again. But, although the demon beast experience did not decrease, his experience began to increase as his level increased. Rumble. Suddenly, the sky was a rift. A golden light scattered down. Long Fei looked up, the golden light piercing him so hard that he couldn't open his eyes. Holy **T. Boss. The dazzling golden light, accompanied by an incomparably powerful pressure, descended from the sky. The dazzling golden light, accompanied by an incomparably powerful pressure, descended from the sky. Buzz! Long Fei's sea of consciousness released a violent rumbling sound. His body trembled. If his knees couldn't take it, he would kneel. However, in that moment, a surge of power was released from Long Fei's fusion of hearts, helping Long Fei to share a portion of the pressure. Only then did Long Fei manage to let out a heavy breath. Phew! Whoosh! Huff! Sweat covered his forehead. Instantly, his entire body was drenched. This pressure was too savage. To be able to unleash such aura, it clearly showed how powerful this fellow was. He didn't dare to imagine. However, Long Fei was not afraid. There was no fear in his heart, but instead an indescribable excitement, as if his blood was slowly boiling. This excitement came from the depths of his bones, because The boss appeared. Gudon. Long Fei's Adam's apple rolled. He swallowed a lot of saliva and said with a heavy voice, "It finally appeared. I thought this map did not have a boss." Chua. While he was speaking, a golden light slashed down. Crash. The golden light was incomparably sharp. The moment he slashed out, he was already in front of Long Fei. Long Fei's pupils shrank rapidly as his hands moved extremely quickly. God's chop. A slash met it head-on. Bam! Rumble. The two slashes collided. Ding. System notification. God's chop has gained 10,000 experience points. He received 10,000 experience points. This slash of golden light was 10 times stronger than the previous demon beast. What the F***? Awesome. Long Fei became even more excited, but not waiting for him to finish getting excited, he saw that the God's chop he killed was actually... It shattered. That golden streak of light was even more powerful. "I'll go." Long Fei shouted in shock. He could not care about his handsome appearance, and immediately rolled on the ground. Rumble. There was an explosion. The place where he was standing earlier exploded into a crater, the kind that was bottomless. This damage, Long Fei felt his scalp go numb. Just one move was already so awesome. It was definitely not the strongest. If it was the strongest move, Long Fei would not have had the time to dodge it. Again, I don't believe it. Long Fei was furious. His God Chop was a lock skill. As long as it was within the range of the level he killed, it would be able to instantly kill whoever it locked on. He had never encountered a strength that could be interrupted by a God's Chop. Even though the skills in the game would be interrupted, but he wasn't in a game right now. God Chop, God Chop, God's Chop, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The three God's Chop-s slashed out in half a second, and their trajectory was exactly the same as the others, without the slightest deviation. This would result in 3 layers of heavy hits. 3 different energies gathered together. However, another slash from the golden light in the sky came crashing down. This was also the power of the golden light cut. Shwa! They collided once again. Ding! System notification. God Chop has received 10,000 experience points. Crash! It shattered. The first one shattered. The second slash was the same. The third was the same as the first. He was completely not the opponent and could not escape from the ground. However, that golden light's slashing force was not damaged in the slightest, and his strength had not weakened at all. The 3 God Chop were gone just like that. Damn you! Long Fei tumbled as he crawled, and jumped to a distance 100 meters away. Rumble! Yet another sky ditch. Long Fei felt goosebumps. Can you not be so awesome? Can't you be a little friendlier? Fuck you. Long Fei cursed, as if the boss had done something wrong. It was obvious that he was the one who wanted to kill the boss. No way. The God Chop is completely useless. I don't even know what the boss looks like right now. Isn't this too depressing? Long Fei was very depressed in his heart. After a few rounds of fighting, they hadn't even seen the boss when they saw a flash of gold. The boss was completely surrounded by the golden light and couldn't be seen at all. If he was defeated just like that, how shameful would that be? Just as Long Fei was wondering, a flame flashed in the system. Flames flickered. Long Fei was startled. He opened up the system and said, "System, you aren't going to explode, are you? You are my soul. If you explode, my life will be gone as well." Huh. Just as Long Fei was trying to figure out why the system suddenly lit up, he was stunned. Didn't I say it before? How come I didn't level up after absorbing so much energy? Why didn't he increase his strength? The system's flickering flame was nothing else but the God's Chop's energy tank. The energy tank began to burn, but it was not full. It was about 90% full, but it was already burning. One could imagine if this burning energy exploded out, then the cliff would explode. There's still 10% left. All right, then Lousy will go all out. Long Fei looked at the golden light and shouted, "Again, I do not believe that I will not be able to kill you." He clenched his hands into fists. Walala, walala, walala. He slashed out like a torrential storm. And his hand speed, it was really something that only a single person could have for 20 years. Boom, boom, boom. The God's Chop attacked 10 times. Long Fei intentionally said, "I don't believe that I can't break one of your attacks." He was afraid that the boss would burst with even more power. If that happened, he would not have the time to dodge and would be dead by now. Indeed, it was the same golden light cut from before. However, Long Fei's God's Chop was the same as before. It did not manage to break the golden light barrier, and his God's Chop continued to shatter one after another. However, he had a lot of experience points. One strike dealt 10,000 points. 10 cuts of 100,000 points. Very, 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 95%. That means we're still missing 20 God's Chop. Long Fei dodged a move. His face was full of mud, crawled up from the ground, and said, again, "Walala, walala, walala." This time, he slashed out 20 times in a single breath. Just this 20 consecutive slashes was enough to fill the energy tank of the God's Chop to the brim. If that was the case, Long Fei's mouth hooked up, he was secretly excited and thought to himself, "Boss, just you wait. I'll make you die right now." But Long Fei slashed out 20 times. An ice-cold voice exploded from the golden light. "Is it only this little power?" "Not all." "Never mind. I won't play with you anymore. Just die." As soon as he finished speaking, the aura in the golden light changed. Immediately, the golden light descended. Crash! The golden light landed in a circle in the air and shot out like a full moon on fire. It stopped in midair, as if gathering energy. In the next second, he madly accelerated and directly rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei was dumbfounded. "What the F***K do you mean? Are you looking down on me? If you have the guts, then accept another 20 moves from me. What's the meaning of this exchange?" "Your sister, this is too trashy." God's Chop. Can this be called a God's Chop?" The boss looked down upon Long Fei and coldly said as it saw the 20 consecutive slashes, "All of you, go to hell." The full moon beheader was used to slash Long Fei's 20 times. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he smiled. He was only 5% away from leveling up the God's Chop. He was only 5% away from leveling up the God's Chop. As long as he could absorb the experience from the 20 consecutive slashes, the God's Chop would level up. He watched as the full moon struck him. Boom! He had bumped into it. Walala! Walala! Full moon beheader had instantly crushed the God's Chop that was slashing 20 times in a row. 20 prompts sounded out in Long Fei's mind. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has received 50,000 experience points. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has received 50,000 experience points. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has received 50,000 experience points. If one's strength was different, the amount of experience one would gain would also be different. The full moon slash allowed the God's Chop to absorb a ton of experience points, which would be fully absorbed in 2 hits. The energy tank is full. Boom! With an explosive sound, the entire energy tank was set ablaze. At the same time, the system rang out. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has leveled up to Heavenly God's Fury. Ding! System notification. God's Chop has obtained the power of the God of Rage. Do you wish to erupt? It leveled up. I really F***king leveled up, huh? A skill like this could actually be leveled? What the F***ck? He's so awesome. Long Fei's blood was burning with excitement. At this moment, he was not in the mood to see what kind of attributes the upgraded God's Chop had, because the power of the God of Rage's burning energy had a time limit. If it was not released within a certain period of time, it would slowly weaken and eventually disappear. Thus, Long Fei looked at the full moon slash and slashed at him as though he was cutting through dried weeds. Soon, it was as fast as lightning. Long Fei's reaction was extremely fast as well. With an excited smile, he said, "You're looking down on Lousy's God's Chop, right? Then take a look at this move." As soon as he finished, Long Fei roared in his heart, "Rage God's power, release." Rumble, like a violent thunderbolt. In an instant, all of Long Fei's body burned with a raging divine flame. Like a flame, it burned with a height of 30 meters. His entire body was engulfed in flames of fury. It was as if the super scion in the seven dragon pearl exploded. Similarly, just like the boss that was wrapped in golden light, they could not clearly see Long Fei at all. They could only see the incredibly dazzling and threatening flames. With a move of his hands, he tightly held onto the Dong Huang sword. The Dong Huang sword continued to tremble. The sword hilt made cracking sounds. At this time, even the God Sword spirit could not take it anymore and revealed a hint of pain. The trembling of the sword could be seen. With both hands, he raised the Dong Huang sword into the air. Long Fei stared at the ball of golden light and the full moon beheader, shouting, "Break for me, God of Heaven's fury!" The sword chopped down. On the sword in the sky appeared a glittering hierarch, an incomparably furious hierarch. His eyes widened in the aftermath of his marriage, and his body also burned with fury. Kill! Rumble! 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 The full moon chop shattered. When it came in contact with Long Fei's fury, Full Moon Slash could not take it anymore and broke into pieces on its own. But Long Fei's goal was not to block the full moon beheader. His goal was to kill the boss. Walala! When that enraged Empyrean god touched the golden light in the sky, the golden barrier trembled slightly, then began to crack apart. It did not last 3 seconds. Bam! Rumble! The golden barrier shattered. The real body of the boss was revealed. It was an iron blood warrior that was dressed in a purple-red heavy armor that was engraved with symbols. The sword in his hand was also different from the others. It was a piece of ivory that was as white as jade. An ivory sword? His eyes stared at the raging deity descending from the sky, and a sinister look appeared on his forehead. The wrath of the gods? See how angry you are. With a movement of his body, he flew into the air and swung the ivory sword in his hand. Shwa! Half the sky split open. A thin crack appeared. Rumble! Rumble! The sound of explosions came from all directions, and the ground started to shake violently. Long Fei's pupils tightened. Damn it, this space is about to collapse. Damn, this boss is too savage. A single sword strike from it shattered the dimensional plane? If you were to add a few more slashes, wouldn't the space here be reduced to smithereens? What if Lousy doesn't go back then? Long Fei thought of all these, and his eyebrows tightened. When space itself shattered, that would mean the collapse of the laws. If it hadn't escaped before the fragments shattered, it might have been sucked into the black hole, and, at that time, there would really be a dead end. No way. Long Fei's mind was set. He did not know if the power of the Rage God could kill the boss, but for safety's sake, he had to take his life before the space shattered. And then, Long Fei's gaze locked onto the boss, and he glanced at Heaven's fury fire. There was still no cooldown, so, with a furious roar, his hand speed soared. The rage of the Empyrean gods, the rage of the gods. A full 27 slashes in a second. Each of these slashes was launched by a single Empyrean god. No one would be like Long Fei. This was an in-skill skill. It was just like a cabbage that was thrown down. He didn't care about it all. He only had one goal. A boss dropped. Under the bombardment of 27 days of divine fury, coupled with the fact that he had been enraged from the very beginning due to the power of the angry god, it could be said that the entire space had become dark and gloomy, like the end of the world. The boss continued to attack. Every time he slashed out, it was like cutting through tofu. The sky continuously split open, and then split again. The tremors on the ground were getting stronger and stronger. They were also constantly breaking up as large pieces of the ground fell down or violently bulged out. A vicious bunch. The dance of death. Walala. The god of heaven angrily smashed into the boss body. The boss body sank, and its forehead tightened. It stared at the god of anger above its head. Crash. The helmet on his head shattered. The boss also went berserk in an instant. A roar. He swung the ivory sword in his hand at the god of heaven. Ding. System notification. God of Heaven's fury has gained 10 million experience points. Ding. System notification. God of Heaven's fury has gained 10 million experience points. The system beep was going wild again. Long Fei was dumbstruck. However, he wasn't in the mood to care about the leveling up of God's fury. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to kill the boss. This was because the boss had too many HP bars on its head. Just a string of long numbers caused Long Fei's scalp to go numb. The boss once again let out a furious roar. The 28 consecutive slashes of the Empyrean God's fury were all blocked by him in a frenzied manner. In addition, each slash was blocked by his own sword arts, resulting in not much damage to him. Furthermore, how much health did he have? 180 million points. The 28 hits didn't even manage to hit a tenth of his health. At this moment, space was still collapsing. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, feeling unresigned, and said, "Is there nothing else I can do? Ha! Even the wrath of a god can only be so-so." The boss roared with laughter, its gaze locking on a Long Fei. Long Fei's heart sank, and he almost knelt down. Right at this moment, ding! Just as Long Fei thought that there was nothing he could do, the system sounded out. Just as Long Fei thought that there was nothing he could do, the system sounded out. Ding! System notification. The God of Heaven's fury has been upgraded to the God of Heaven Madman. Ding! System notification. God of Heaven's Madman's energy is ignited. Do you wish to release it? He had leveled up. The God's shop had leveled up once again. During the previous 28 consecutive slashes, each of the slashes received 1,000,000 experience points, making the God of Heaven's fury level up to the 3rd level. The surprise came too suddenly. Long Fei almost cried, Thank you, brother. This is simply offering charcoal during a snowstorm." If the God of Heaven is so angry, then look at the God of Heaven Madman. Long Fei did not hesitate as he locked onto the boss with his sharp eyes. Ding! Target locked. Kill! Empyrean God Berserk energy had also been completely released. Long Fei's body was immediately pushed up by this powerful energy and floated in midair. Sensing the fanatical energy, Long Fei felt like he was an extremely crazed god. This slash released all of his energy. The frenzied energy fused with the energy of the God of Heaven Madman. Lock onto the boss. The sword slashed down. The boss' pupils contracted as he stared at the sky. His eyes suddenly became unfocused. Then, the boss also let out an angry roar. "Even if I die, you won't be able to survive. Destroy." The boss body emitted rays of golden light. The golden light was the incredibly powerful sword intent. The sword intent reached straight into the sky, and the sky began to tremble. Long Fei's eyes froze for a moment, and then he scolded angrily, Damn you. Are you trying to make me perish together with you? Do you think you can live? I'm the lord of this place, and everything here is under my control. Do you think you can survive? Die with me." The boss no longer cared about that much. He could feel the threat of a heavenly god maniac, and he knew very well that he would not be able to survive. Thus, he wanted to drag Long Fei into hell with him. However, seeing this situation, Long Fei knew that the boss was not going to live. Now, even if his God of Heaven Berserk did not behead the boss, it would still be devoured by the spatial rend. Thus, Long Fei did not care about the outcome. He immediately took out the spatial transfer stone that his grandfather had given him. He crushed it. Long Fei immediately entered the spatial teleportation area, looked at the stupefied face of the boss, and waved his hand. The boss was dumbfounded. He never thought that Long Fei would have the ability to teleport rocks. The boss continued to howl. Long Fei's figure disappeared, and his vision slowly disappeared. He prayed in his heart, there must be some other person. The power of my striking energy value is about to go berserk. With this sword, the boss would definitely die. However, Long Fei's body had already been teleported out of the previous space. What if something didn't pop up? What if he killed her? The rules of this world were not fixed. The system was not designed by him. Anything was possible. Buzz! Long Fei returned to the bottom of the altar. Mu Tianhe also stood up with difficulty and asked anxiously, Xiao Fei, what's wrong? The floating stone started to shake. Are you all right? In the midst of the floating stone was trembling violently. Mu Tianhe was extremely worried. Now that he saw Long Fei returning, the boulder in his heart was slightly lifted. Long Fei was still in a daze. He was completely silent in his own world. He needed to be quiet. He needed to wait for the system beep to sound. He was not distracted. They didn't even know what Mu Tianhe was saying. Clenching his fists tightly, Long Fei clenched his teeth. Based on the calculation, it should be about time. It should be done. He should be going berserk. It should be explosive, violent. Explode. At this moment, Long Fei's heart was in his throat. He was truly afraid that he wouldn't be killed. Explode. Long Fei roared in his heart. And at this moment, rumble. A loud boom resounded, and the system beeped with a pleasant tone. Ding! It was like the sound of wind chimes gently colliding in the mountains, causing Long Fei's entire body to feel indescribably comfortable. His entire body was also paralyzed as he sat on the ground, eyes slightly closed, waiting for the moment of his happiness. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Outer Domain boss. Reward: 999, 999, 9999 experience points, holy source value. 999999, striking value, 1 point. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to release berserk energy? Yes, sir. Long Fei rubbed his hands together. He could not hold back anymore. The moment he said yes, his blood boiled up crazily. Come, explode. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining exquisite God Soul. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining exquisite mind. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining exquisite divine sense. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining heaven-shaking divine elephant sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining spatial transfer technique. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at level 4. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Howren rank 5. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Howren 9th pin. Nearly 10 billion experience had caused Long Fei's level to skyrocket, going from the original 3rd grade of Clear Ran to the 9th grade of Clear Ran. He was only 1 level away from reaching the realm of an ancient almighty. This speed, even Long Fei was stupefied by his ferocity. Mu Tianhe, who was at the side, was even more shocked. He looked at Long Fei as if he was looking at a monster, and every time Long Fei leveled up, he could feel the change in aura on his body. He had lived for who knows how many years. He didn't even know how old he was. However, his mouth was wide open as he looked at Long Fei like a fool. I don't understand. He didn't understand at all. Could a person break through so quickly? Was this how someone broke through to the realm of Howren? Level 1 per second? Was he blind because he was old? Or was it all his imagination? Mu Tianhe was really a little confused. This is great. This is F** King Cool. Long Fei let out 2 furious roars. Only then did he notice his grandfather by his side, and immediately asked, Grandfather, when did you come over? Mu Tianhe was the same as Long Fei just now. He couldn't react at all. His mind was completely muddled. He had clearly heard Long Fei talking, but he just did not know how to reply. Grandfather? Grandfather? Long Fei shouted a few times. Mu Tianhe finally regained his senses, grabbed Long Fei's shoulders with both hands, looked at Long Fei seriously, and said, Child, I'm not dreaming, right? I'm not dreaming, right? Your cultivation base. He was a little incoherent. Long Fei grinned, and without waiting for Mu Tianhe to continue speaking incoherently, he said, Grandfather, I found the thing that saved you. The thing that saved me. The thing that saved me. Mu Tianhe was moved in his heart. He caressed Long Fei's head, revealing a benevolent smile, and said, Child, this is enough for you. I have a good daughter. She has a good son. I have a good nephew. Ha ha. Mutiana was really happy. It could be said that in his lifetime, he probably had never been so happy before, because one child was still thinking about him. This was because his nephew had a child who had broken through consecutively in less than a day. In less than a month's time, he would have become an ancient almighty powerhouse. He was incomparably pleased. With the Long family, there was hope. Being able to see his nephew achieve such an achievement before he died was truly happier than anything else. Long Fei said very seriously, "Grandfather, I really found something that can save you." Mu Tianhe smiled faintly and said, "I'm very clear about my body. My 3 gods are heavily injured, and there is no medicine that can cure it." He was like a dried-up lamp that had run out of oil. How many more days could he live? He didn't want Long Fei's energy to be wasted on this rotten old man. It was just that he did not know what Long Fei had just obtained. Long Fei said, "Grandfather, I know that the 3 gods in your body were heavily injured, so I found something that the 3 gods in your body can substitute for." Mu Tianhe was stunned for a moment. Only he knew about the severe injuries of the 3 gods. So how did Long Fei know about it? What could replace the 3 gods? It was impossible for such a thing to exist in this world. Long Fei knew what his grandfather was thinking and said, "Grandfather, you said that there are a lot of special spaces inside this floating stone, and that in these spaces could be Uiter space demons." "Grandfather, do you believe me?" Mu Tian has said, "You are my nephew, of course I believe you, it's just that." Long Fei said, "You just need to trust me. You don't need to worry about other things." And then, Long Fei asked in his heart, "Long Quang, what do we do?" Long Quang said a few words. Long Fei said to the outside, "Grandfather, whatever I say now, you will do. Wait till I finish doing other things first, and then you can see." Mu Tianhe smiled and said, "All right." He trusted Long Fei, but he did not believe in himself. There could be no substitute for the 3 gods in this world. The 3 spirits, the soul, the mind, and the divine sense. These were the foundations of a human being and also the foundation of a cultivator. To Mu Tianhe, who was an ancient almighty being, this was everything. These 3 things were like the indispensable organs of the human body. How could they be replaced? One with my mind. Empty the divine sense. Soul into the sea. Long Fei said a few words. Mu Tianhe did as he was told. In any case, he didn't have much time left to live. Rather than dying, it was better to let his nephew conduct an experiment. The outcome was no longer important. He already thought of himself as a dead horse. He just did not want to disappoint Long Fei. Long Fei was very serious and continuously explained what he was going to do next. Mu Tianhe also cooperated fully. When everything was ready, Long Fei's palm moved and took out the boss's divine soul. It came from the body of a foreign boss. The energy contained within was definitely not lower than the cultivation of the ancient almighty powerhouse S. In that instant, with a move of his palm, it directly covered the space between Mu Tianhe's eyebrows. Mu Tianhe's forehead shook. His pupils suddenly tightened. "Xiao Fei, what is this?" Long Fei immediately reminded him. "Grandfather, don't split your attention." At this moment, he couldn't afford to be distracted in the slightest, or all his previous efforts would be wasted. At that moment, Mu Tianhe did not dare to be negligent. This was because he felt a powerful energy enter his sea of consciousness later on. His injured soul was trembling, and that new energy that had entered was another soul. Could it be, is what Xiaofei said true? The soul can be replaced? This. Mu Tianhe was so excited that he couldn't speak. Buzz. A thunderous sound suddenly exploded in his sea of consciousness. Next, his soul had been completely shattered into nothingness. Buzz. A new soul appeared and hovered above the sea of consciousness. Moreover, the aura that exploded out was even stronger than the spirit that he had nurtured. Mu Tianhe didn't have time to be shocked. Ning was stunned. Yet another surge of power entered his mind. Similarly, in less than a few seconds, his mind was shattered, and a new state of mind built up. A powerful burst of power. Buzz. Divine sense was the same as well. After the three gods entered his body and replaced the three gods, Mu Tianhe's body seemed to have gained a new life force. The fire of life was ignited once again, and it burned even more vigorously. The powers of the three gods were linking non-stop, building up new bridges of power. Mu Tianhe was so excited that she almost started crying. Dead trees in the spring. Huff! Long Fei's strength faded as the idea sent a sound transmission to him. Grandfather, you need time to recuperate and familiarize yourself with the new strength of the three gods. I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving first. Long Fei opened his eyes. His forehead was covered with hot sweat as he took a deep breath. In the last minute or so, he hadn't even breathed and was more careful than ever. He knew that if he failed, then his grandfather's life would be in his hands. When the three spirits entered his body, there were no adverse reactions. This meant that the operation was a success. Now, with his own cultivation, he should be able to control it, and Long Fei did not have the time. It was already morning, and he had promised Mu Changfeng that he would make it to the northern part of Mu Clan in the morning. Otherwise, he would be unable to control the anger in Mu Changfeng and the other three because he was worried that it would be a waste if he let it out. Mu Tianhe opened his eyes and gave the jade pendant that he was carrying on his body to Long Fei, saying, "Take my jade tablet with you. Whoever dares not listen will be killed. Don't be afraid. Grandpa will support you." While they were talking, Mu Tianhe gave the black identity jade token to Long Fei. This profound jade tablet was the symbol of the patriarch of the Mu clan. It was the only plate of the Mu clan. Seeing the patriarch was like seeing the patriarch. Long Fei kept it well and said, "Amen, I'll remember it." Mu Tianhe closed his eyes. He wanted to link the powers of the three gods right now, so I had to leave quickly because he was worried that Mu Hitai would make a move against him. Long Fei hugged his hands. "Grandfather, I'm going." The floating stone suddenly opened a door. Long Fei took a step forward. It was also at this moment. Ding! The system suddenly sounded out. Long Fei was startled for a moment, then immediately thought of the hidden quest. Grandfather's three gods entered the body. The injury has improved, so the mission should have been completed. But were the unknown rewards? There has never been an unknown reward before. Master System, come at me. Unknown reward. Unknown reward. Never appeared. Long Fei was also extremely looking forward to it in his heart. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Save Mu Tianhe quest. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining unknown reward. Long Fei received a special chest in his mind. Open the box. Damn, this is an unknown reward. System, since when did you like these gaudy things? Long Fei disdained, as the idea moved to tap on it. The chest was opened by Long Fei. The system beep sounded again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the special item, level +1 scroll. Do you wish to use it? What the F *** K? Rank +1 scroll? This! Long Fei was a little excited. What did level +1 mean? It meant that if you clicked on it, you would instantly level up. Moreover, now that Long Fei was at the 9th level of the Howren realm, if he clicked on the scroll, he could instantly step into the realm of an ancient almighty being. If Long Fei wanted to level up now, it would require more than 3 billion experience, which was also the hardest level to reach. An ancient powers realm. Strength was a completely different domain. In terms of divine space, this was a step into the divine realm. It was truly a god realm. Long Batian used half a month's time to upgrade for the Holy Moon state to the realm of an ancient almighty being, and right now, he only needed to tap lightly to break Long Batian's record. Become a #1 person in ancient world. Temptation. An incomparably strong temptation. However, Long Fei held back. As a professional gamer, he was very clear that the higher the level, the more experience it required to level up. He needed more than 3 billion experience points to level up, so it was very likely that he would need 5 billion or 10 billion experience points to step into the ancient realm. In other words, this plus 1 level scroll was a bit of a loss. Endure it for now. If it really doesn't work, then let's talk. As for Long Baishan's record, Long Fei was a little excited in his heart, but in the end, he endured it and stepped onto the floating rock. The golden-furred man waited outside the floating stone. When he saw Long Fei walking out, he immediately leaped onto him. Long Fei landed on the golden-furred man's back. Looking at the time, his heart tensed up. It's already morning. I hope Chong Feng and the others have held back. Gold Fur, full speed. To the north. The giant golden ape leapt heavily into the air and instantly disappeared into the horizon. Mu Clan. Tell me about all of you. 7 strong men of North Region. The direct disciple of the Patriarch, the future successor to the Mu Clan, was actually ambushed. You disappoint us too much. North District, in the main hall of the Mu Clan. More than half of the elders of the Northern Region had come, and they sat on high seats, staring at Mu Chongfeng's group of 7 who were trembling in the middle of the hall. Many of the elders were talking among each other. Their words were full of ridicule, and their voices were getting quieter and quieter. At this time, the Patriarch is here. All the elders in the hall stood up. Mu Atai walked into the hall, with Mu Yuding following behind him. Mu Yuding saw that the faces of Mu Chongfeng's group of 7 was pale, blood was hanging from the corners of their mouths, and their bodies couldn't stand steadily. He sneered in his heart. Mu Hatai also acted as if he was shocked, as he anxiously walked to Mu Chongfeng's side and said, Zhang Feng, what's wrong? Who hurt you so badly? When Mu Chongfeng and the rest of the 7 saw Mu Yuding, their eyeballs nearly popped out of their sockets. His rage immediately soared to the heavens. Their eyes were bloodshot. They hated that they could not rush up to get Mu Yuding's head off, but they had promised Long Fei that they would never be angry before he appeared. Mu Chongfeng clenched his fists tightly and did not say a word. Mu Yuding also acted as if he was concerned, and said, Zhang Feng, you have to be bold and say who injured you. My Mu clan will take revenge for you. Mu Chongfeng did not speak. Mu Yuding sneered in his heart. Mu Hatai said, Men, call clan elder Mu Chongsheng over immediately. Mu Chongsheng had not revealed himself ever since he returned from the mountain, even after a few days. Mu Yuding said, Clan leader, even if we call upon the gods, it is useless. Just now, I sense that their cultivations are already crippled. As soon as he finished speaking, the entire audience was in an uproar. All of them were staring at Mu Chongfeng. Mu Chongfeng did not speak. Mu Yuding continued, Your cultivation has been crippled, and all you need to do is to spend more time on it. With your talent, it shouldn't be difficult, but Mu Yuding took a few steps forward and said, Their pubes was also destroyed. There was no longer any movement from their bodies, and they were no longer able to absorb the heaven and earth holy source. Their bodies are even more useless than a piece of trash. In that instant, all the elders stood up and looked at Mu Chongfeng's group of 7. You're the old patriarch's direct disciples. The old clan chief once predicted that within 1,000 years, you would be able to step into the realm of ancient powers. But now, you all have become trash? How could this be? Who is it? Many of the elders were puzzled. Mu Yuding said indifferently, This means that the old patriarch's prophecy was wrong. Not only are they unable to step into the realm of ancient powers, they will also only embarrass the Mu clan. The old chief isn't omnipotent either. This is the disciple he chose. I wonder if he calculated that his disciple would become trash. What 7 strong men of North Region, the future inheritor. Now he's become 7 pieces of trash, huh? Many people began to laugh. That's right. I should say that the current patriarch has foresight. If Mu Tianhe had not insisted on saving that traitor's daughter, the Mu clan would not have been stuck in the God-living mountain for so many years. Who does Mu Tianhe count as? If the disciple he chose becomes trash, where would Mu clan put his face? The sound became more and more unpleasant. Many people started to attack Mu Tianhe, and they even spoke his name directly. They had not taken Mu Tianha seriously at all. All of the elders in the hall were Mu Hatai's people, and at this time, everyone wanted to step foot on Mu Tianha. After today's matter, everyone in Mu clan will know about Mu Chongfeng's group of 7 being crippled. Mu Tianha's reputation was in ruins. Not many people in the Mu clan took Mu Tianha seriously anymore. Mu Hatai looked calm and collected, but he was actually extremely happy. Mu Yuding looked at the silent Mu Chongfeng and also sneered. Mu Chongfeng, do you think you still have the qualifications to stand here? Your cultivation has been crippled and your pubes has been destroyed. You're not even comparable to a dog from the Mu clan anymore. At this moment, Mu Chongfeng raised his eyes, looked straight at Mu Yuding, and asked, Mu Yuding, may I ask why you are so clear about the matter of our cultivation being crippled and our pubes being destroyed? Don't say that you sense my body. I know very well that I don't have any sensing power on me. While they were talking, Mu Chongfeng's aura moved. Buzz! The dense holy source was released. Mu Yuding's expression changed and became incomparably ugly. It was impossible for the holy source to be released after crippling the pubes, and it was also not possible for it to be released by some kind of treasure. It was impossible for the holy source to be released after crippling the pubes, and it was also not possible for it to be released by some kind of treasure. After Mu Chongfeng released his holy source's aura, the other 6 people released their holy source's aura as well. The 7 of them stared at Mu Yuding. Mu Yuding's face burned as though he had been ruthlessly slapped in the face. Looking at the 7 of them, his body trembled slightly. At the same time, Mu Hatai's face immediately became gloomy as well. If 7 strongmen of North Region was not crippled, he would not be able to carry out the following plan. His plans were thrown into disarray. Mu Hatai stared at Mu Yuding with fury in his eyes and scolded, President Yu, what exactly is going on? Mu Yuding was speechless. He had clearly crippled their cultivation, shattered their pubes, and turned them into complete trash. But now, he couldn't figure it out. Facing Mu Hatai's berating, Mu Yuding stammered, Clan leader, I clearly sense that their pubes and cultivation have been crippled, but, Mu Hatai shouted harshly, but what? Mu Chongfeng sneered. But you didn't expect us to be perfectly fine, right? Mu Yuding, you never dreamed about that, right? And you want to use us to discredit our master? You guys are really ruthless. What you just said and how disrespectful you were to Master. I have remembered all of it. When Master comes out of seclusion, I want to see how you will explain it. Mu Chongfeng replied heavily. All the elders in the hall had ugly expressions on their faces. He thought it was an opportunity to suppress the 7 strong men of North Region. He never expected that things would go the other way. What they just said was very disrespectful. If they waited for Mu Tianha to come out from seclusion to settle the score, they would definitely not have a good ending. Zhang Feng, that's not what we meant. We thought that you all had been crippled and felt sorry for the old chief. That's right. How could we dare to be disrespectful to the old chief? That's right. Without the old chief, how could the current Mu clan be here? This is all thanks to the old chief. Mu Tianha was the strongest warrior in Mu clan. Although they were currently in seclusion, they had just come out that day. If they were to settle the score with them, they wouldn't be able to take it anymore. Since the 7 strongmen of North Region was not crippled, then he could not afford to offend him. Seeing this, Mu Hatai frowned and fiercely stared at Mu Yuding. In his heart, he was extremely dissatisfied with, but he found it difficult to act up inside the hall. Mu Yuding didn't know what to do either. Their plan had been completely disrupted by Mu Chongfeng and the others. Mu Chongfeng looked at Mu Yuding and said, Mu Yuding, you have yet to explain how you knew about our pubes and how our cultivation had been crippled. Mu Yuding said, Mu Chongfeng said, You? The reason you know that the cultivation level of our pubes has been crippled is because you had tried to kill us. Mu Yuding's gaze tensed up. He did not speak as Mu Hatai slammed his hand on the table heavily. Impudent. The main hall shook. Mu Yuding was shocked. He thought Mu Hatai was targeting him. Mu Hatai stared at Mu Chongfeng and said, Zhang Feng, you are too presumptuous. Mu Yuding is still a North Region elder after all. How dare you slander him? Do you think you can spout nonsense just because you're my big brother's direct disciple? Who gave you the right? Seeing that, Mu Yuding's reaction was fast and said, Zhang Feng, I do not know what you are talking about. You are the future hope of the Mu clan. How could I lay my hands on you? Furthermore, my cultivation is much stronger than yours is. If I was the one who killed them all, do you think that you all would still be able to stand here? With your cultivations, the pubes is completely unharmed. How can you slander me? Mu Yuding rejected it flatly. Even though, when he attacked Mu Chongfeng's group of 7, he did not conceal his identity, because at that time, he did not need to hide anything. A good-for-nothing simply didn't have the right to speak. Mu Chongfeng sneered. You don't dare to admit to what you've done, right? Are you still human? Why would there be a coward like you in the Mu clan? Muay Thai was even angrier. How dare you? Zhang Feng, I warned you earlier. Do you know your crime for slandering an elder of the northern region? Now that you're so unrepentant and still dare to spout such arrogant words, what do you want to do? You want to rebel? Am I, the acting patriarch, someone from the 7 strongmen of North Region, not putting him in your eyes? Muay Thai's words were getting heavier. Since Mu Yuding did not cripple all 7 of them, then this current, there was still a chance for him to make things big. The result was the same. The later plans could still be executed the same way. Thus, what he needed to do now was to constantly knock down the dung bucket. The entire Mu clan palace was filled with his people. As long as Mu Chongfeng dared to refute him again, he would be able to suppress him. Mu Chongfeng laughed coldly, turned his gaze, stared at Muay Thai, and said, I want to rebel? Hee. I'm afraid you guys are the ones who want to rebel. A trifling Mu Yuding doesn't even dare to touch our 7 strongmen of North Region. The person behind him should be you, right? Muay Thai. He directly called Muay Thai by his name. Mu Chongfeng's eyes were bloodshot. After the demon seed entered his body, his temperament quietly changed. He didn't care about the things he was worried about in the past. He didn't dare to say anything before, but now he didn't dare to say anything. A demonic cultivator had a completely different mindset. Muay Thai's eyes darkened as he said with a heavy voice, Mu Chongfeng. He was furious. The other elders immediately stood up as well. Mu Chongfeng continued, Didn't you always compare yourself to the patriarch of the Mu clan? Now that you have become an elder of the Judgment Pavilion and the elders of the Northern Region, all of them will be replaced by you. You are now in Mu clan, covering the sky with one hand. Master has already given up his position. What else do you want? What a pity, what a pity. I'm afraid Master has already allowed you to have a bad heart. He did not give you the Patriarch's token, not waiting for him to finish. Muay Thai could no longer control the anger in his heart. His eyes were glaring furiously. The ancient aura of an almighty being rolled about on his body. With a flip of his right hand, Wong. An explosive sound rang out in the hall. Muay Thai said solemnly, Big brother cannot teach you. I will teach you, and I will let you know what respect means. Rumble. With a loud rumble, all the tools in the hall began to vibrate. In that instant, the powerful ancient powers surged out and pounced towards Mu Chongfeng's group of 7. Either he wouldn't act, he would destroy all 7 of them with a single strike. Moreover, what Mu Chongfeng had said already constituted a heavy crime. When he attacked, no one dared to say anything. His figure moved, enveloping the 7 people with his palm strike, about to land on them. At this moment, suddenly, a voice came from outside the hall. Stop! 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 A loud shout came from outside the hall. The power of Howren's rank 9 aura surged. At the same time, a figure flashed and landed beside Mu Chongfeng. Come, Long Fei. Muay Thai frowned. He could not remember when he saw Long Fei, and only felt that he looked a little familiar. When Mu Yuding saw Long Fei, he was also startled. He muttered in his heart, Why is he here? To dare to use Long Fei's Howren's rank 9 aura again. In an instant, shocking the heavens. How is this possible? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. A few days ago, he was only at the Divine Moon Realm. How? How did he reach the 9th level of the Howren Realm? Mu Yuding sized Long Fei up like he was looking at a monster. Clan leader. When Mu Hatai saw the look in Mu Yuding's eyes, he immediately withdrew his strength and asked, "And who are you? Who is this kid? Never seen him before?" 9th level of the Howren Realm. Logically speaking, there should be records of it in the Mu clan. So young, and yet he's already of the 9th rank? Who the hell is he? Alien? But the clothes he is wearing is clearly from the Mu clan. Just when they were guessing Long Fei's identity, Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 said in a heavy voice, "Boss. Boss. The boss of 7 strongmen of North Region? Who is it? I've never seen it before, but I've never heard of it. Since when did the 7 of them have to pay their respects to their boss?" He didn't understand it at all. Mu Atai was also dumbfounded as he looked at Mu Yuding. Mu Yuding said, "Patriarch, he's the brat that I told you to save 7 strongmen of North Region last time." But, Mu Hatai said in shock, "The outer disciple you were talking about? What kind of joke is this? His cultivation is at the 9th level of the Howren sect. How could he be an outer disciple?" Mu Yuding also could not explain it clearly. He had no way to explain it, because even he himself did not know what was going on. The genius Xians of the divine space was also so abnormal. No, it could no longer be described as abnormal anymore. He was not human at all. There was no such person. Long Fei walked forward and said lightly, "Patriarch, I am Mu Fei from the Eastern region, and am a service disciple." He said lightly. East side? Servant disciple? This? Is he joking? "Brat, are you here to tease us?" No one believed what Long Fei said. How could a mighty 9th-stage powerhouse be in the East region? Or a service disciple? Long Fei also cared about what the elders said, and said while looking at Mu Hatai, "Patriarch, they're the old patriarch's direct disciples, and also my little brothers. I came here today because I want you to give the patriarch some face." Mu Hatai glanced at Long Fei and said, "I naturally must give face to the old patriarch, but who do you think you are? How our 9th pin thinks he's strong." Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 were all furious and wanted to rush over, but they were stopped by Long Fei. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "I am only a little soldier, so I'm naturally nothing. I am here because I hope that the clan leader will not continue to exhaust himself from the internal strife. The undead lord is coming soon, so I hope that you will listen to the arrangements of the old clan leader and lead your clansmen into Turtle Mountain." After all, these people were all from the Mu clan. They were both his mother's uncles, and he did not want anyone to die. This was a type of loss to his grandfather, to the Mu clan. However, the moment his words fell, the entire audience burst into laughter. "Ha! Ha! Brat, who do you think you are? Do you think our 9 pin is strong? Enter the Turtle Mountain? Ha ha! Aren't you being too funny? Undead Lord is coming? Ha ha ha! This is the funniest joke I've heard this year." The crowd burst into laughter. The blood veins in each of Mu Changfeng's eyes increased, and the anger and hatred in his heart grew even more. The magic seed was frantically absorbing their hatred. There was already a tendency to sprout. Long Fei faced the crowd and laughed. His expression was very calm, neither humble nor arrogant, and he said, "Patriarch, I'm really serious about something." Mu Hatai said with a sneer, "You're the one that was told by the 7 strong men of North Region that the undead lord was coming here for, right? Interesting. The entire God-living mountain is filled with disciples of my Mu clan. Why haven't they gotten any news at all? Say it again." Mu Hatai's eyes darkened. Taking a step forward, he fiercely released the pressure on his body, heavily crushing Long Fei's mind, and shouted, "Who the hell are you? To point fingers in front of me? I'm just asking who you are. Grade 9 Howren?" He didn't care at all. Most of the elders in the palace had higher cultivation than Long Fei. They were shocked because Long Fei was already at the 9th level of the righteous noble realm at such a young age, but they were not shocked because of his high cultivation. Rumble. Long Fei's state of mind started to surge. A powerful pressure pressed down like 100,000 mountains. Long Fei revealed a bitter face. However, half a second later, a burst of power burst out from his fusion with his heart and dissipated the pressure. Muatai's face froze. It was also at this time that Long Fei took out his profound jade tablet and said indifferently, "I already said that I'm nothing, but if you really want to mess with me, then don't blame me for being rude. Now let me ask you, what do you count as?" Long Fei replied heavily, "Dark medallion. The Patriarch's crest. The old Patriarch's token. Why does he have the old Patriarch's command medallion in his hands?" The entire palace suddenly quieted down. All of them looked at the order badge in Long Fei's hand. Muatai was also surprised and was unable to say a word. Mu Changfeng reprimanded them. "Behold, it is as if you have seen the old clan chief himself. Have you forgotten the least bit of etiquette?" The crowd trembled. This was the clan rule. They were forced to kneel on the ground and prostrate themselves. "We pay our respects to the Patriarch." In the entire arena, only Muatai did not kneel. Mu Changfeng said angrily, "Muatai, you want to rebel?" The matter immediately reversed itself. Muatai was in a bad mood, rather bad, extremely bad mood. The anger in his heart was burning crazily, and he had to kneel to a disciple of the Eastern District just because of a Patriarch token? He couldn't do it. Who is he? He was Muatai, the current acting Patriarch of the Mu clan. He felt a sharp pain in his heart when he thought of the word agent. As long as he obtained the Patriarch's token, he would truly be the Patriarch. He would no longer be the acting Patriarch. He only needed this token. And then, Muatai's pupils constricted as he said in a heavy voice, "Insolent dog, you actually dare to steal the Mu clan's ancestral medallion. No matter who you are, you must die here today." His words trembled. The elders in the hall were slightly taken aback. He didn't know how to react. Muatai snapped. How could he, a service disciple from the Eastern District, have an ancestral token? It must have been stolen. "What are you waiting for? Take him down." All the clan elders reacted, immediately standing up and staring at Long Fei. Long Fei's gaze tightened and said, "Are you really going to do this?" Looking at the elders around him who were eyeing him covetously, Long Fei asked, "Are you really going to do this?" Looking at the elders around him who were eyeing him covetously, Long Fei asked, "Are you really going to do this?" Unless it was absolutely necessary, Long Fei did not want to make a move, because this was his mother's family. Muatai laughed coldly and said, "Brat, if you know what's good for you, hand over the Patriarch's medallion, and this will at least leave you an intact corpse. What are you waiting for? Attack." Muatai didn't want to give Long Fei a chance to think about it. What he wanted was the Patriarch's token. After obtaining the order badge, he was the legitimate Patriarch of Mu clan, not the acting Patriarch. Mu Yuding took a step forward. Mu Changfeng and the rest of the seven stayed close behind Long Fei and asked, "Boss, what do we do?" Long Fei said, "Don't move. I'll take care of it." Mu Changfeng and the rest cultivation were still too low, even if they were possessed by the devil, and their strength was only slightly stronger than before. Facing these northern elder, their cultivation was still not enough. The lowest cultivation base of the elders here was at Howren grade 5. Half of the elders here were at the ancient realm. Mu Changfeng and the others could not even make a move. Mu Changfeng said, "Boss, just you." Long Fei replied, "It's fine, I can handle it." The corner of Muatai's mouth lifted slightly and said, "Kid, you can handle a hammer. What can you deal with?" Mu Yuding, cripple him. He gave the order. The mighty emitted from Mu Yuding's body moved, boom. It struck towards Long Fei like an avalanche of mountains and seas. Long Fei's sea of consciousness fiercely stirred. The pressure was very powerful. "Kid, kneel down." Mu Yuding let out a loud shout. With a flip of his right hand, a palm struck towards Long Fei's head. They were approaching in full fury. The power was even more incomparable. Mu Yuding's cultivation was not in the realm of an ancient almighty being. He was Howren's 9th stage peak realm. Furthermore, he had been cultivating for decades and was known as an invincible existence below the 9th level of Clear Sky Peak. Long Fei had just broken through to the 9th level of the righteous noble realm. He was just a little bit weaker in terms of his aura. However, Long Fei never relied on his level to win in battles. Seeing Mu Yuding's figure descending, Long Fei's mind stirred, and he formed a hand seal, God Curse. Buzz! A rune phantasm immediately bound Mu Yuding. At this moment, Mu Yuding's world seemed to have stopped moving, but the other's time was still moving. His eyes watched as Long Fei took a step forward. He couldn't react. It was a crazy attack, but he just couldn't react at all. He couldn't move. It was as if his body was completely stuck in place by a force. God Curse! Anyone can be fixed. There was a time limit. The stronger a person was, the less time they would have. After Long Fei released the God Curse, a time bar immediately appeared on his body. 3 seconds. Limit time. It was very short, but to someone of the 9th rank, 3 seconds was a lot. Long Fei took a step forward. His 2 fists surged and shot out like heavy cannons. 8 burst fist. Rumble. Rumble. It heavily struck onto Mu Yuding's chest. Mu Yuding's body exploded outwards and smashed into the main entrance of the hall. A thick and solid wooden door fell down, pressing onto Mu Yuding's body. It was also at this time. 16 violent exploding sounds came from Mu Yuding's body, and then blood flowed from beneath the door. The gash on the top of his head also turned into 0 under the 16 explosive sounds. Instant kill. Dead. The system also chimed in. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Mu Yuding for obtaining 260,000 experience, 20,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. A few items dropped. The entire audience was stunned. Long Fei's gaze swept across them and said coldly, "Who else?" They knew Mu Yuding's cultivation very well. Had he been killed just like that? The attack was instantly blocked. Both of them were of the 9th level of the Howren realm, yet they died just like that. Mu Hatai's pupils tightened as he stared at Long Fei with anger burning in his heart. "Brat, who exactly are you? What is your purpose in coming to the Mu clan?" He started to suspect Long Fei. For such a young boy to possess such powerful strength, he definitely didn't believe that he would be able to break through in such a short period of time. He must have been hiding his cultivation from the very beginning. Long Fei said, "Did I really ask you to do this just now? Since you insist on doing it, then I will have to kill you." Also, he deserves to die, sneak attacking the Patriarch's direct disciple, crippling their cultivation and crippling their pubes. Don't these kinds of people deserve to die? I don't want to find out who the person behind him is. But Long Fei looked straight at Mu Hatai and said, "Patriarch, I'm still calling you Patriarch because we still have room to talk. I don't want to kill anymore." These words were not an act, but a very serious one. Because he was a Mu clan, if it was on a family that had nothing to do with him, he wouldn't be so blabbering and would start a massacre a long time ago. It had to be known that the current instant kill skill, Heavenly God Fanatic, was much more brutal than the God's Chop. Although it still required 24 hours of cooldown time in this place, he had a certain amount of combo time. With his level of cultivation, who in the crowd could possibly resist him? They should all be within his instant kill range. Of course, this was just what Long Fei thought. Heavenly God Kwang was the 3rd realm of the God's Chop. The range that it could kill was now 13, which meant that it was 3 levels higher than before. Was there someone with a higher cultivation than an ancient supreme elder in this group? Long Fei was very serious about saying, "I don't want to kill anymore." But to Mu Hatai and the others, this was extremely arrogant. They did not put these old fellows in their eyes at all. Not to mention Mu Hatai, the other elders also had faces full of anger. What an arrogant tone. So young and yet so arrogant. Do you know where this is? You think Mu Yuding, who just killed a Howren 9th pin, is awesome? Kid, let me teach you how to conduct yourself. The elders were all furious. One of the clan elders suddenly moved. The immense pressure from the ancient era's supreme elder struck over, suppressing Long Fei in all directions. Long Fei rubbed the bridge of his nose and said indifferently, "What I hate the most is coercion. Since you force me to, Then I won't be polite. Long Fei frowned. This time, he did not show any courtesy and directly took out the heaven-shaking divine elephant sword. It was the ivory sword that dropped from the Iron Blood Warrior's boss. The sword image moved. Long Fei slashed down. Sky God's berserk slash. Ding! Target lock. Kill. The system had locked onto him for a split second, and Long Fei had cleaved down with his sword. Walala! A series of explosions could be heard as space itself shattered. The tear rushed to the front of the elder, and then the sword slashed down. That elder's body instantly turned into fine powder. Instant kill. Long Fei really didn't want to kill anyone. Long Fei really didn't want to kill anyone. However, there was always someone who was shameless. If that's the case, then why give him face? Kill. Since drooling could not solve the problem, the most primitive method was still more useful. People are like that. When life and death came to an end, he would become a good boy. An ancient supreme realm cultivator? Awesome? Very powerful? How contemptuous? Very much. Long Fei expressed. Hee hee. One strike, 1 second. Furthermore, at the same time, Long Fei looked at them all. I already said, I really don't want to kill anymore, but if you guys really want to force me to do it, then I feel like I'm just bragging, so I want to ask another question. Who else? Huh? Who else? His voice was deafening. Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 saw the excitement and almost clapped for Long Fei. The surrounding elders were also stupefied when they saw this. An ancient almighty powerhouse. He had trained for thousands of years. Just like that, all of them were stupefied. Looking at Long Fei, their minds went blank, because they had never encountered such a situation. However, some people were still extremely unhappy. He shouted, killing the Mu clan's elders and little bastard. Even if Mu Tianhe is present today, you have to kill. Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei slashed down heavily once again. God of Heaven's Berserk /1 was successful. The second slash did not have a cooldown. As long as it was released within a certain period of time, and as long as Long Fei's holy source value could endure, he could continue the slash. However, the consumption of holy source by the heavenly god madman was tens of times greater than that of the god's chop, and with just these 2 slashes, Long Fei had already exhausted 1,000,000 holy source points. With another slash, it would be several times stronger. Rumble. The elder was the same. His body turned into fine powder from Long Fei's slash. Long Fei remained very calm and spoke again. Who else? Who else? Who still refuses to accept this? This time, even more people calmed down, and many of them subconsciously took a step back. 2 ancient almighty powerhouses. Was this brat a devil? Is he still human? Mu Hatai was angered to the point that there was a chill in his heart, because at this moment he was also unable to see through Long Fei, and felt that Long Fei was like a bottomless abyss. Too strong. Mu Changfeng laughed excitedly. Ha! Ha ha! The boss is really King mighty. Ha ha ha! You crazy old guys, aren't you crazy? Come on. Red light flashed in each of their eyes, as if they were devilish in nature. Long Fei's 3 moves made them boil over. It was extremely beneficial for their magic seed to sprout. They were extremely excited. Everyone was speechless. The entire Grey Hall was crushed by Long Fei alone. Even Mu Hatai was speechless. Long Fei stared at Mu Hatai and said indifferently, Mu Hatai, can we have a good talk now? This time, Long Fei did not call for the patriarch, because he had already given him face. Mu Hatai's lips moved a little. He was extremely unwilling and extremely unhappy in his heart, but in his heart, aside from anger, there was also a deep sense of fear. Just like the other elders, they were afraid of Long Fei's slash. His cultivation base was the highest here, but he didn't dare to recklessly try it out. Mu Hatai calmed down and said, what do you want to talk about? He had to hold back. I need to understand Long Fei's ability to inskill. Long Fei smiled slightly. Now we can talk. Mu Hatai did not utter a word. The other elders in the hall didn't dare to make a sound. They were afraid that Long Fei would give them another sword attack. Long Fei said, Bring all clan members from the 4 great districts of East, South, West, and North, and all into Turtle Mountain to hide from the world. As long as Mu clan entered Turtle Mountain and avoided being chased down by the undead lord, then the Mu clan would be able to survive. If they did not hide inside the Turtle Mountain, the Mu clan would truly become a river of blood. Muhatai's brows tightened and said, "To enter Turtle Mountain and still be the one to lead all of the clansmen from the 4 great regions into Turtle Mountain is not a simple matter. Do you know how long it took for the 4 great regions of the Mu clan to be established? 100 years. Once the outside world finds out that the Mu clan has entered the Turtle Mountain to hide from the world, then all their 100 years of history will be taken away. If the Mu clan appears again, it will take me another 100 years to rebuild my home. The Mu clan cannot handle this, and if not for that woman, the Mu clan would not have stopped for another 100 years." Muhatai said heavily. He did not want to enter Turtle Mountain. Moreover, he was even more unconvinced that the undead lord would come to the god-living mountain. What kind of person was the undead lord? He is one of the 3 great sky sovereigns of Xian's. Although he is the one with the lowest status, he has never allowed the 3 great sky sovereigns to fight in a battle since ancient times. Then again, Xian's also had spies from Mu clan. 4 undead lords want to come to God-living mountain. It was a huge matter, but there was no news from Mu clan's eyes at all. This was impossible. Long Fei continued. If there is no home to rebuild, but if there is no people, how can we rebuild it? Time is of the essence. Make the arrangements now. Within 2 days, all the clansmen of the Mu clan will enter the Turtle Mountain. Otherwise, the consequences will be dire. Long Fei replied heavily. 2 days. Long Fei was even worried that they would last for too long. However, for a clan that was migrating thousands or tens of thousands of people, 2 days was simply too short. Moreover, there would be all kinds of trouble. After all, if no one was aware of the danger, their speed would be even slower. 2 days, Muhatai said straightforwardly. Time is too short. It's basically impossible. Long Fei said, I don't need anything. As long as someone goes in, I will do my best to help the reconstruction of Mu clan. As long as a person was alive, there was no need to worry about not having enough firewood to burn. What was Qingshan? Human. With his life on the line, anything was possible. Muhatai said, you speak so lightly, and so, Mu clan will do his best to rebuild you. I want to ask, how will you do your best? And who are you? Who do you think you are? Muhatai's tone changed. He began to obey and slowly turned it into a challenge. That was because, when he was talking to Long Fei, he was already preparing for it. He didn't have the heart to talk to Long Fei at all. All he could think about was how to kill Long Fei and how to get the Patriarch's medallion. As for entering Turtle Mountain, he had never thought about it. Long Fei felt the change in Muhatai's tone and said indifferently, Muhatai, could it be that you still want to try the taste of my one shot? The time for the combo had passed. The God of Heaven Berserk skill required a cooldown of 24 hours. Long Fei was currently unable to release it. However, only knew about this. No one knew that his skills were going to be on cooldown. Hearing Long Fei say that one strike killed, many of the elders tensed up again. Muhatai's gaze also tightened as the corner of his mouth slightly hooked up, and he said, Kid, that strike of yours was indeed powerful, but you seem to have forgotten what our Mu clan cultivates. As soon as he finished speaking, Muhatai's figure suddenly disappeared. Spatial technique. Long Fei's pupils tightened. Right now, even if there was a god's chop, it was already useless. He simply could not lock onto the target. Damn, this is bad. After cooldown, the in-skill skill would be cast for 24 hours. After cooldown, the in-skill skill would be cast for 24 hours. This meant that Long Fei had lost his strongest backing. With just a few seconds, he never thought that Muhatai would still dare to attack. Who would have thought that he would use a spatial technique? He disappeared on the spot. Even if he, an Empyrean God madman, could use it, he wouldn't be able to lock on his target right now. This was also one of the drawbacks of an Empyrean god madman. If he wanted to instantly kill them, then he must first lock onto the target. If the target could not be locked on, then it was destined that he would not be able to kill them. Clan head Mu, it seems that you still want to challenge my in-skill skill. Long Fei's gaze swept across them as he released the idea to sense every nook and cranny of the hall. He didn't sense it. Muatai did not reply either. However, Long Fei was sure that he was in the main palace, or even in front of him. This kind of person who cared about status and authority was not someone who would give up. Long Fei should have thought of this just now. Mu Hatai's cultivation could be considered one of the top 5 in Mu clan. If such a powerhouse were to instantly enter the top 5, it would be a waste. This was also why Long Fei didn't kill Mu Hatai right from the start. Mu Changfeng let out a heavy cry as well, and said, Mu Hatai, if you have the ability, come out. Yeah, come out if you dare. Space magic. Are you so scared that you want to hide in your own space? A cowardly turtle. They did not know that Long Fei's in-skill could not be used anymore, so they looked forward to seeing Mu Hatai walk out of the space. The surrounding elders did not say anything. All of them were old foxes, so they had to wait and see. Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up and asked, Dragon Quang, is there any way to deal with spatial techniques? Long Quang Dao. Space arts are a cultivation technique unique to the Mu clan, and the spatial arts that the Mu clan cultivates are considered to be of the highest level in the world of the divine space. Mu Hatai's spatial technique has been cultivated to an extremely high level. From its disappearance until now, not a single trace of his aura has been leaked, nor have any hint of spatial ripples. It's as if this person doesn't exist at all, but I just promised that he would definitely be in this great hall. Long Fei said, Do you really need a promise? Just tell me if there's any way to deal with him. Long Quang answered truthfully, About that, I really don't have it. Long Fei's heart trembled. Even Dragon Quang could not do anything about it, which meant that Mu Hatai's spatial techniques were definitely stronger than normal. Long Fei had also cultivated in spatial techniques. The spatial technique dropped by the boss that Long Fei killed in the floating stone. He clicked on it and started cultivating, but it was still at the lowest level. Compared to Mu Hatai, his spatial techniques were basically useless. Long Fei appeared very calm on the surface and said, I really don't want to kill anymore. You are still the patriarch. Don't wait, you are just a dead person. Long Fei threatened. Mu Hatai still did not respond. Long Fei said, Mu Hatai, you have to consider this carefully. If you want to kill me, you must show yourself. The moment you appear, I will immediately kill you. Even if I die, you'll also die. He used the in-skill skill to pressure Mu Hatai. At the same time, Long Fei entered the pubes S. He had yet to sense the power within the pubes after breaking through the Howren realm. He still did not know how strong the pubes' power was. However, the power within the star relate to Dantian was the only thing he could rely on, and the only thing he could rely on to win against Mu Hatai. Umph! A cold harumph was suddenly heard. Long Fei frowned. Long Quang immediately said, Up there. Long Fei also reacted immediately, but too slow. Mu Hatai smashed down with his palm. It was too fast, and it was a sneak attack. Even if Long Fei were to be on alert, he would still not be able to react in such a short amount of time. Rumble! A powerful palm force came crashing down. Long Fei's body sank. Poochie! A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out. His knees were trembling so badly that he was about to kneel on the ground, but with a stomp of his right foot, the power of a 9th rank in Clear Ran burst out to the maximum, and he was sent flying to the side, not waiting for him to stand firm. Buzz! Mu Hatai's figure disappeared, and at the same time, he appeared in front of Long Fei once again. Rift palm. 18 palm strikes. Both palms flying together, struck on a Long Fei's chest one after another. Bang, bang, bang. Each strike contained the power of an ancient supreme elder, and each palm strike was incomparably thick. The chi in the hall was rampant, and many elders were directly forced to retreat due to the shock. Mu Changfeng and the rest had even paler faces, unable to do anything. The power of the ancient almighty powerhouse S were terrifyingly strong with each palm strike. The external forces simply could not interfere at all. When the first palm hit Long Fei's chest, his health fell by more than half. When the second palm landed, Long Fei's health point was already less than 1,000 points. If he had another palm, he would have died immediately. At this time, Flower Fairy suddenly said, "Little Green." Sky-piercing Vine also instantly responded, "Understood." With a move of her roots, it directly connected to Long Fei's heart meridian, and the spirit liquid that connected to the sky directly poured into Long Fei's body. And at this moment, health point plus 10,000 points. Health point plus 10,000 points. Health point plus 10,000 points. It was even faster and fiercer than if he had taken a special medicine. Originally, Long Fei had wanted to use level +1 to instantly level up to the realm of an ancient almighty being and use these upgrades to revive himself in an instant. However, hearing the series of notifications from the system, he was a little dumbfounded. Damn, this is 10,000-year snow frost, and it's even a great replenishment elixir. This is too satisfying. Long Fei did not think that the sky cranes would have such an amazing effect. In a matter of seconds, his health bar was already full. Long Fei had the game system. In terms of the system, he was a gamer. As long as the health of a player was full, there would be no pain. This was where Long Fei was abnormal. Muay Thai struck Long Fei with his palm. Other than the initial mouthful of blood, Long Fei did not feel any pain. There was no expression of pain. He looked calm. Her face was rosy, as if she had just finished replenishing the water. Breathing evenly, as if nothing had happened, he looked at Muay Thai, who was incessantly bombarding him. At this moment, Long Fei was just like a monster. "It's not working. Muay Thai, give us some more strength. Pull. Come. Use your strength on me. Didn't you eat? Use more strength." Muay Thai threw a punch, and Long Fei said this. The more Muay Thai fought, the colder it became. The rift palm was a palm technique comprehended from the space cracks. One palm could kill a person, let alone 18. But now, Muay Thai hit himself until he doubted himself. Is he human? No, he's definitely not human. Is he a devil? There's such an operation. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this place. Patriarch, stop fighting. Your attacks are useless against him. The elders in the hall were all shocked. There were even people who asked Muay Thai to stop attacking because all of this looked really stupid. Because Muay Thai looked too stupid. Because Muay Thai looked too stupid. Muay Thai also felt that he was very stupid. When his rift palm hit Long Fei's body, it didn't hurt at all, but it was completely useless. And kill Long Fei? It was only a single mouthful of blood. After finishing the 18 consecutive strikes, Muay Thai's body moved and immediately retreated a few steps as he looked at Long Fei with his eyes wide and his mouth agape. Long Fei patted the dust on his chest and said indifferently, "Are you done?" Muay Thai looked at Long Fei in a daze and said, Are you a devil?" Long Fei said, "Can you do what I say now?" Muay Thai let out a long breath. He really didn't know what to say. He felt it difficult to breathe. A disciple of the Eastern region, who was at the 9th level of the righteous noble realm, gave him an unprecedented pressure. Even when he had faced Powerhouse before, he had never felt so powerless. This was bullying. After a long time, the killing intent on Muay Thai's body disappeared, and his will to fight faded as he said, "Entering Turtle Mountain is not something you can enter just because you want to. 2 days is too short a period of time. Even the people of the 4 great divisions would need more than 2 days to gather together." He was convinced. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such a thing. Even if he couldn't accept it, there was nothing he could do. It's easy to gather people. As long as you say it. Isn't everyone coming? Long Fei asked. What are the conditions to enter Turtle Mountain? Muay Thai laughed bitterly and said, "Things are not as simple as you think. The 4 main districts of East, South, West, and North are too far apart. It will take 3 days just to get to the north region from the east side. Even if we can use war beasts to transport disciples, it would take a lot of time. Even if we can gather all of them. But have you thought about it? If the enemy did not appear, who would believe that the undead Lord was here to destroy the Mu clan? Who would be willing to give up their own hometown? Even if all of this isn't a problem, opening Turtle Mountain requires the strength of 18 ancient almighty powerhouses to trigger the spatial gate in order to open it. You just killed 2. Right now, there are only 16 ancient almighty powerhouses left. Many things could not be solved in a single sentence or 2. A large clan with tens of thousands of people in the Mu clan. It was not just a single word from the clan leader that would cause everyone to immediately do as they were told. Furthermore, this was without the slightest threat. Not to mention, Muatai was only the acting clan master. He couldn't command everyone. In terms of prestige, Mu Tianhe was still the highest. That's right. It's not that simple. There are many people in Undead Lord who don't even know who he is. Even if they said he was here, I'm afraid no one would care about it. If we can't even open Turtle Mountain, how will we get in? Furthermore, you don't have any evidence to prove that the Undead Lord came here. The many elders said in unison. No one looked down on Long Fei anymore. The strength Long Fei displayed was enough for them to be respectful to him. Muhatai said, the last time our Mu clan entered Turtle Mountain, it took us an entire month to do so. You have to enter the mountain within 2 days. Even if you satisfy all of the conditions, you wouldn't be able to do so. Last time, everyone knew that the great army of the Xians was approaching so quickly. You said that the Undead Lord was coming, but where is he now? It's not that I don't believe you, but it's important for you to come up with convincing evidence, right? Muatai looked at Long Fei. Indeed, Long Fei also realized that his thoughts were too simple. However, if they did not come to Turtle Mountain, the Mu clan would truly become a river of blood. The number of people who survived was extremely small, and there was even the possibility of the Mu clan exterminating their entire clan. Long Fei could not let his mother's family take such a risk. Patriarch, give the order for everyone to gather. I'll look for the evidence. Furthermore, I can use my head to guarantee that Undead Lord will be coming over. He might even have already entered the God-living mountain. Long Fei said heavily. Muhatai could only smile bitterly and said, this is a huge matter which concerns the entire clan. Such an order requires the Patriarch's medallion. Long Fei took out his order badge, and without hesitation, he immediately threw it at Muhatai. I'll give it to you. Muatai was startled. He didn't think that Long Fei would give it so easily. There was no hesitation. Too sudden. The order badge he yearned for in his dreams fell into his hands, just like that. Looking at the order badge in his hands, he did not know what to say, and looked at Long Fei. You, are you not afraid that I will not give the order after obtaining the order badge? Long Fei said, or the Patriarch of Mu Clan, and you also hope that Mu Clan will become stronger in the future. You do not wish for blood to flow like rivers from Mu Clan either. Of course. One more thing. I believe you. Saying that believing in Muhatai was fake. He had no choice if he didn't believe it. Grandfather is still in closed-door training. He might not be able to come out for the next few days. In the entire Mu clan, only Muhatai was capable of gathering the entire clan and could only believe in him. If Muhatai did not do anything even after getting the order badge, he would be courting death. At this time tomorrow, a single strike from him would take his life. He would definitely not show any mercy. Muhatai held onto the Patriarch's medallion heavily. Feeling the weight of the medallion, he said, all right, I believe you. While they were talking, Muhatai picked up the Patriarch's medallion. His voice shook as he said, pass my order down. Everyone in Mu clan is to gather at the North region. Everyone. The voice entered the Patriarch's token. Immediately, the Patriarch's token released wave after wave of power. This power entered a special space. In the north, south, east, and west regions, there was a special space that could be accessed. While he was speaking, His voice also sounded out from the sky above the four quadrants. Muhatai's eyes trembled as he looked at the elders in the hall and said, "You guys send all of the giant rocks that you have to go to the east region. South area will take this disciple over." An elder said, "Patriarch, what if some people don't come? We can't possibly bring them here, can we?" Muhatai's brows tightened and said, "Just say that there is a miracle in the northern region, and all the people enveloped in the miracle will be able to quickly ascend." He could only use this method to trick them to come over. Moreover, this was not a lie. When the time came, opening Turtle Mountain would be like a miracle. "All right, go," Muhatai replied heavily. The elders withdrew from the great hall. Muhatai walked down from the high seat and walked to Long Fei's side, then said, "I have already sent the order, but it still requires two ancient, almighty powerhouses to open Turtle Mountain." Long Fei said, "I'll think of a way." Muhatai looked at Long Fei, returned the order badge in his hand to Long Fei, and said, "For you." Long Fei laughed and said, "You are the patriarch, so the order badge is naturally in your custody. I believe that if the patriarch was here, he would do the same." Muhatai felt displeasure in his heart. In another place, Mu Changxing's courtyard, he raised his head to look at the sky, and the corners of his mouth curled into a strange sneer. "You want to enter Turtle Mountain?" The disciples of the four great districts, east, south, west, and north, were quickly gathering. The disciples of the four great districts, east, south, west, and north, were quickly gathering. With the support of the elders, the transport of disciples was quick. The temptation of a miracle should be able to gather all of the disciples within 3 days. Long Fei was not worried about this. Right now, he was worried about the 18 ancient almighty powerhouses. Only the 18 ancient strong S can open the gates to the Turtle Mountain. Long Fei took a look at his experience bar. There were still billions of experience left to level up. Unless they could find a place with a dense amount of demon beast, it was impossible to break through into the ancient realm in a few days. Do you want to use the +1 scroll? Even if I have broken through to the ancient realm, I still lack one more person. If grandfather can make it out before then, it should be enough. But Long Fei didn't know when his grandfather would come out from closed-door cultivation. The establishment of his 3 gods required time to nurture and familiarize themselves. This was not something that could be accomplished in a day or two. At this time, he couldn't easily disturb his mind. One more ancient strong. Long Fei muttered in his heart. Who are you looking for? At this time, Long Fei thought of Mu Yun. He still has 3 days left after calculating the time. I have to go back to the east side. Mu Yun still had 3 days of life left. If he was still unable to absorb the immortal crystals within these 3 days, he would completely transform into a beast and lose his heart. That would be death. Zhang Feng, you two stay in the North District and train. I'm going back to the east side. Long Fei explained himself and said softly, "Your clan chief already knows about the cultivation. He has no objections, but for now, don't let anyone else know that fiendish elementalists are being disgraced by others." Long Fei was afraid that there would be more troubles. Mu Changfeng nodded his head and said, "Understood. We will wait at the north region for your return. We will not go out until you return." Long Fei replied, "Okay." And then Long Fei quickly left the northern region, then called Golden Fur over and said, "Return to the eastern region." On the way back to the east region, Long Fei sensed that the undead ghost had not returned yet. He continued his search. Undead Lord has not been found yet. With his Howren realm cultivation, it would not be easy for him to find people in the God-living mountain. After all, the God-living mountain was too big. "Patriarch, are we going to enter Turtle Mountain now? We are not even sure where that boy came from. Why should we believe him? We can't just give up on this century-old foundation just because of a few words. Once we enter the Turtle Mountain and come out again, what will this world be like? Does the Mu clan still have a foothold? Patriarch, we have no choice but to consider these things." After Long Fei left, many elders came to look for Muhatai. They were worried about Muhatai and also worried about themselves. Entering Turtle Mountain was tantamount to the right of the Mu clan to reshuffle. What would become of him on the day he left Turtle Mountain? Could they still hold the power? Would they still be elders? No one could say. They only knew that, the last time they entered Turtle Mountain, many of the elders had lost their power. They don't want to be like that. Muhatai said, "The word has already been spread out. How can it not count?" He wasn't confident either, but the disciples of the four great sectors had already begun to gather towards the north. If he gave up now, what was he supposed to say? "Patriarch, you should think about it more. I don't think I can trust that brat's words. If the undead lord were to come and destroy our Mu clan, why haven't we found any news of him in the Xians?" Exactly. The crowd even tried to persuade him otherwise. At this moment, a disciple walked in and said, "Master, Elder Changsheng requests an audience." Muatai was slightly taken aback. Since Mu Changsheng returned from the mountains, he had always been closed doors and had not come out. He did not even see Mu Changsheng, the patriarch, when he went to look for him. Muatai felt that it was a little strange. However, Mu Changsheng was the great elder of the Northern Core Academy. Although his cultivation had not stepped into the realm of ancient supreme elders, his influence was not inferior to any of the ancient supreme elders. Muhatai said indifferently, "Let him in." Before he finished speaking, Mu Changsheng walked into the hall. Mu Changsheng did not greet them, his gaze sweeping the area, and looking at the elders in the hall, he said, "I have something to report. All elders, please take leave." Muhatai said, "We are all on the same side here. If you have anything, please speak." Those few elders were also in a bad mood. Mu Changsheng said, "It's better to speak alone." Mu Changsheng, what do you mean? Exactly. Weren't you pretending to be sick and dead during this period of time? What are you trying to say? Muhatai waved his hand and said, "You guys can leave first." He also wanted to know if Mu Changsheng had anything important to tell him. A few elders walked out of the hall unhappily. Mu Changsheng asked, "Are you really going to enter Turtle Mountain?" Muhatai was a little unhappy with Mu Changsheng's disrespect, but on the surface he did not display it. He said, "Of course, since the order has been given, can I still play?" Mu Changsheng smirked and said coldly, "Just because of a few words that brat said." Muhatai's brows tightened and said, "Mu Changsheng, if there's something you want to say, just say it." Mu Changsheng said, "Let me ask you, do you know who that brat is? Do you know who he is? And how did he know that the undead lord was coming to the god-living mountain?" Muhatai was unable to answer and said, "There is no need for me to explain these questions to you." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, the cold smile on the corner of Mu Changsheng's mouth grew even wider as he said, "You don't know, I know." Muhatai was shocked. "What do you know?" Mu Changsheng said, "Firstly, his name is not Mu Fei or anything like that. His surname is Long, and his name is Fei. Long Fei." Muhatai didn't react at all. After muttering a few words in his heart, his pupils suddenly contracted as he stared at Mu Changsheng and said, "You said his name is Long Fei? It's..." Mu Changsheng laughed. "They are the sons of Mu Wanner and Long Zhanting. They are the main culprits caught by the patriarch of the Xians and the successor of Long Batian. It's Mu Tianhe's nephew." His words were like a thunderbolt that exploded in Mu Tianhe's mind one after another. The two people he hated the most in his life. The first one was Long Zhanting. The second was his niece, Mu Wanner. It could be said, it was the two of them who destroyed the Mu clan. How powerful was the former Mu clan? With the strongest spatial laws of the ancient world, which ancient family would dare to underestimate him? Even the Xians did not dare to rashly make a move on him. It was really because of the couple that caused the Mu clan to decline, especially the last time he entered the god-living mountain. If not for Mu Tianhe's insistence on saving Mu Wanner, the Mu clan would not have suffered such heavy losses and would not have been able to recover even after 100 years. And now, their son had once again appeared in the Mu clan. The hatred in Muhatai's heart immediately surged. The hatred in Muhatai's heart immediately surged. The aura on his body was like a violent and unyielding force being released. His clothes flapped violently as his sword-like eyebrows revealed killing intent. "Are you speaking the truth?" Mu Changsheng said. "Of course, I dare to guarantee it with my life." "Absolutely. Think about it. Once again, how much of a blow would it be to the Mu clan if you were to give up on the century-old foundation that the Mu clan had built? Even after leaving Turtle Mountain, the changes in this world will be so fast. At that time, will the Mu clan be able to keep up?" Muatai frowned. After a long time, Muatai looked at Mu Changsheng and asked, "How do you know all this?" Mu Changsheng smiled faintly, then said, "I naturally have a way to know, and what I said was also the truth. I also know that when he first entered the divine space, he almost died at the hands of the undead lord, and that it was because of Mu Tianhe's sudden appearance that saved him." "Oh." Muatai stared at Mu Changsheng and said, "You know about it that well? So you're saying—" Muatai's eyes narrowed and said, "Undead Lord is really coming to exterminate Mu clan?" Mu Changsheng said, "Of course, but what he wants is that brat's life. If Mu clan can hand that brat over, then Undead Lord will definitely not destroy Mu clan." "Hand Long Fei over." Muatai walked forward a few steps. He happened to walk at the entrance of the hall when he suddenly turned and stared at Mu Changsheng. "Seems like the rumors are true. Although Long Batian has fallen, but he has given his strongest power to his reincarnated body. The Undead Lord must have obtained some important information, and it is also because of this that Mu clan spies and the Xians are not able to learn of it." "No, it's not just Xians. Looking at the entire divine space, the only one who knows that he entered the divine space other than the Undead Lord is the old patriarch. And you—" Muatai's eyes tensed up. The corner of Mu Changsheng's mouth curled up and revealed an extremely sinister, cold smile. His laughter was like the weeping of ghosts. "Muatai, you still have some brains." Muatai's aura was suddenly released. Within his sleeves, his hands formed a seal. Buzz! The entire hall quickly formed into a dimensional boundary, trapping Mu Changsheng within. Muatai asked, "Just who are you?" Mu Changsheng laughed. "You've already guessed it. Why do you need to ask?" "That's right. I am the Undead Lord. Hand over Long Fei. You are also your Mu clan's patriarch, and your God-living mountain is also his. If you don't, I will make the blood and corpses of Mu clan flow like a river and make sure that there will no longer be anyone with the surname Mu in this world." He wanted Long Fei. What he wanted was Long Fei's star relate to Dantian. As for the Mu claness, he did not want to cause too much trouble, because once the old monsters of Xian's found out, he would cause trouble as well. After living for so many years, he understood one thing. He silently made a fortune. As long as he obtained Long Fei's star relate to Dantian, he would have to find a safe place to cultivate. Once he grasped the powerful strength of the pubes, he would be able to do whatever he wanted. Muatai looked at Mu Changsheng. Mu Changsheng continued, "I can even get rid of Mu Tianhe for you. As long as he comes out of seclusion, you as the patriarch will not have any face. Only I can help you." He knew what Muatai wanted. Whatever Muatai wanted, he could give it to him. Muatai's pupils tightened as he thought about what Mu Changsheng had said. It was simply too enticing for him. However, Muatai muttered, "Looks like there is no need to find evidence." Mu Changsheng said, "What?" Muatai said, "That brat's mother's surname is Mu. He is our Mu clan's nephew. Half of the Mu clan's people want to touch my Mu clan's people. Even if the Emperor Xian himself comes, our Mu clan will definitely fight to the bitter end." As soon as he finished speaking, the aura on Muatai's body violently exploded. All of the spatial boundaries in the hall immediately rushed towards Mu Changsheng. Mu Changsheng did not go to block it. He just stood there laughing coldly and said, "Muatai, is this your choice?" Muatai said, "That's right. He is my Mu clan's nephew. If you want to touch him, that is impossible." A fiendish look appeared on his forehead. The strong spatial energy completely entered Mu Changsheng's body. In that instant, Mu Changsheng's body started to expand. Mu Changsheng still did not resist, and he could not resist either. He was not a real undead lord. He only had an undead lord's idea in his body. It was also because he had been intercepted by the undead lord during the spatial travel the last time. At that time, Mu Changsheng would already be dead. Very good. Since you wish for the Mu clan to eliminate our clan, then I shall grant your wish. Undead Lord's voice resounded. The voice pierced through everything and directly exploded in the air above the northern region. Ha ha! Ha! Rumble! Space itself exploded. Mu Changsheng's body turned into smithereens. But the Undead Lord's idea did not die. With just this little power, you think you can stop me? You overestimate your own capabilities. Just you wait. Your Mu clan will soon have rivers of blood. Ha! Ha ha! Laughter rang out nonstop. Hearing the intense explosion, many elders rushed into Mu Hatai's courtyard. Patriarch, what happened? Who is that? Clan head. Mu Hatai did not explain anything, nor did he reveal Long Fei's identity. Instead, he said in a heavy tone, "Hurry, hurry, hurry. In addition, summon all the elders from the ancient times. We need to open Turtle Mountain earlier." The elders were taken aback. Patriarch, you opened Turtle Mountain earlier? We only have 16 ancient almighty powerhouse. If we activate it, we would have to pay a huge price of life. This, Muatai said, do as I say. Everyone shivered. Although he did not know what had just happened, Muatai had clearly changed. Everyone nodded and said, as you command. Muatai asked, where's Mu Fei? An elder said, he seems to have gone to the east region. Muatai's forehead tightened. Under his sleeves, he clenched his fists tightly. He did not know the consequences of this choice. Destroy? Become enemies with the Xians? Every result was something he could not bear. Before, he had never felt such immense pressure, but now, he was finally able to experience the choice his big brother Mu Tianhe made back then. The pressure was too great. Mu Hatai looked at the sky and thought to himself, Master of the Mu clan, I don't know if this is right or wrong. If this brings about the annihilation of my entire clan, then Muatai took a deep breath. He strode out of the courtyard. He was preparing to open Turtle Mountain. On the way to the east side, the golden fur constantly jumped, and suddenly, Long Fei's pupils tightened. A voice resounded in his mind. Master, I found the Undead Lord's undying legion. Found it. I finally found it. Long Fei was secretly happy and immediately sent a sound transmission to him. All right, have you seen Undead Lord yet? Undead Ghost replied, no. Long Fei was slightly taken aback. Then where is he? Long Fei asked again. How many people are there in the Undying Legion? Undead Ghost replied, roughly 1,000 people, with most of them being in the Howran realm. But, Master, these people are all very respectful when they see me. All of them kowtowed to me in respect. Master, what should I do? What was the identity of the Undead Ghost? Direct disciple of the Undead Lord. Naturally, his status was extremely prominent. Not to mention disciples. Even elders would have to be polite to him. This was even better for Long Fei. He would be able to understand their plans and find out what the Undead Lord wanted to do. Long Fei immediately said, very good. First, find out their plans, find the Undead Lord, and see what he wants you to do. Undead Ghost replied, yes, sir. With this super spy, Long Fei finally heaved a sigh of relief. His special identity should quickly find out about Undead Lord's plan, which also gave him time to prepare in advance. However, even if Long Fei knew all of the Undying Legion's plans, it wouldn't be of much use. The most important thing was the Undead Lord. He was the biggest threat. It would be great if it could explode. Long Fei secretly clenched his fists. Although the heavenly divine sword had leveled up to become an Empyrean God Kwang and instantly killed 3 levels of level increase, it was still, can you kill Undead Lord instantly? Long Fei was not confident. An old monster like the Undead Lord had no idea how strong his head was, and a powerhouse like him could instantly transform into a clone. Even if it was the real face that was locked onto him, He only needed to be idea to be able to move out. To kill such a powerhouse was too difficult. Bam! The golden mane landed heavily on the ground. Boss, with the Eastern District. Long Fei realized that he was already at the Eastern Gate. The east side was busy. Many disciples were incomparably excited. A miracle! A miracle has come. I heard that the speed of cultivation within the miracles can be increased by several times, or even by several dozen times. It can wash away one's essence and allow one to be reborn. This is really a rare opportunity. I really must thank the Patriarch. To be able to get the disciples of our Eastern District to participate, we are truly grateful. We must thank them again for their kindness. The disciples of the East District were all excited. A miracle was an opportunity that was hard to come by in a person's life. This was also the reason. Whether it was the disciples of the East region, the elders, or the service disciples, they were all boiling with excitement and responded positively. Because this could very well be an opportunity to change his life. Isn't that the brat move, Fei? He took the exam and suddenly left. Now that he's appeared, what does he want? Once I come out of the miracle, I will definitely avenge senior sister Mu Yao. When I come out of the miracle, what will the 8 burst fist count as? Many people did not like Long Fei. Long Fei did not mind, but looking at their speed, it's too slow. All of you, hurry up. You guys are too slow. Quick, quick, quick. The Undying Legion had already entered the God-living mountain, and their cultivation could suppress the entire Mu clan. Many of the disciples in the East region were from God's state. Not to mention the elders of the Undying Legion. Even an ordinary disciple of the Howran realm could kill all of the disciples in the East region. Strolling around here now, he was completely looking forward to death. It was good that Long Fei didn't say anything. After saying a few words, it immediately made many people look down on it. Mu Fei, who are you commanding? Yeah, who do you think you are? Don't forget, you did not pass your test. You're still a service disciple. Do you understand? He really thinks of himself as a spring onion. TCH, Long Fei abandoned the examination, his identity still being a service disciple. This was a very enjoyable experience for many people. This was because they could not allow a service disciple to ride on their back. It was an insult to them. Long Fei said, if you don't want to die, then hurry up. If you do, then slowly dawdle. Mu Fei, what are you talking about? An elder could not bear to watch any longer and shouted. It was also at this time. Mu Yao and a few disciples walked over. When Mu Yao saw Long Fei, his eyes looked very calm, but there was a trace of arrogance within the calmness. She passed the test. She was now a disciple of the South area. Her identity was no longer the same. Long Fei looked at Mu Yao and asked, "Where's Mu Yun?" Mu Yao did not speak. A disciple beside her immediately jumped out and shouted, "Mu Fei, why are you talking to Senior Sister Mu Yao? Do you know that Senior Sister Mu Yao is already a member of the South area? What kind of identity do you have? He's just a janitor." The other disciples also began to viciously teach Long Fei a lesson. The reason why Long Fei came back to the East region was for Mu Yun. So now that Mu Yun had disappeared, he was naturally anxious in his heart. Hearing these sarcastic and disdainful voices again, he became enraged in his heart and angrily said while looking at Mu Yao, "I'm going to ask you about Mu Yun." The aura emitted from Long Fei's body carried anger, but it did not exude any pressure. Being interrogated in such a manner made Mu Yao a little unhappy. The surrounding elders and disciples immediately shouted, "Mu Fei, you brat, show some respect. Who do you think you are?" Senior Sister Mu Yao is already a disciple of the South area. His future achievements will definitely surpass yours. Just now, when you spoke to the Senior Sister like that, who do you think you are? Mu Fei, you don't even have the least bit of respect. Mu Fei, they were all denouncing Long Fei. Furthermore, more and more people began to gather around him, all of them criticizing him. Mu Yao's expression was somewhat ice-cold. She enjoyed the feeling of being held in the palm of everyone's hands. She was just like a peacock who had been spreading her tail the entire time. Yes, she had always been a peacock. Lung Ao seemed to have a trace of disdain in his eyes for seeing Long Fei embarrassed. She said coldly, "I'm not his mother. How would I know where he went?" "Ha ha, ha ha. Kid, did you hear that? Mu Yin is not the son of our senior sister. Where did he go?" The surrounding people began to laugh maniacally, but none of them noticed that Long Fei was angry. Long Fei's gaze swept across them and said with a heavy voice, "All of you kneel down." His aura moved, and he released his might. Boom! With a loud bang, all of the hundreds of people present, including the elders, instantly knelt down, excluding Mu Yao. Moreover, at this moment, his mouth was opened so wide that not a single sound could be heard. The entire plaza was so quiet, it was maddening. Long Fei moved his footsteps and instantly appeared in front of Mu Yao. He stared at her and said coldly, "You always think you're so high up in the air. In my eyes, you're not even an ant." In that moment, Long Fei was like a god. In that moment, Long Fei was like a god who can trample on everything. Each and every one of those disciples and elders were incomparably miserable, and they were completely crushed by the pressure released by Long Fei. If Long Fei had not been able to control his strength, the pressure of the 9th level of the righteous noble realm would have instantly suppressed them to the point where they bled from the 7 orifices of their eyes, ears, noses, and mouths. Mu Yao looked at Long Fei. Her face was pale, and her lips were purple. She didn't know why. Every time she saw Long Fei, the arrogance she had just built up would be ruthlessly stomped on the ground by Long Fei, and it would shatter into pieces. It was very hard. She looked at Long Fei as if she was looking up at him. She had always been disdainful towards Long Fei ever since the first time she saw his image, and she had never changed. Even when Long Fei had become stronger, she had never taken him seriously. She was now a disciple of the South area, and would be able to enter after this miracle. Long Fei was even a service disciple. But this service disciple trampled on her again and again. Yes, in the College of Martial Arts training, during the examination, and now as well. No matter how hard she tried, every time she was in front of Long Fei, she would become so small, so small. Being stared dead into Long Fei's eyes by now, Mu Yao's mind was on the verge of breaking. Clenching her fists tightly, she tried her best to control herself, but even so, she still couldn't help but tremble uncontrollably. Her lips also trembled as she said, I really didn't know that you left that day not long ago. I don't know where he went." After saying that, her face turned as pale as thin paper. It was as if he had said so much to use up all the power in his life. "Crap," Long Fei secretly exclaimed in his heart. "Mu Yin must have gone to find me. Why is he?" Long Fei had thought that he would be with the woman he liked in the last few days, but he never expected that he would actually leave. After all, he only had 2 days left to live. If he still hadn't absorbed the fairy beast core within 2 days, he would turn into a beast. Long Fei frowned, looked at Mu Yao, and said, "If my brother didn't like you, you would have been a dead man long ago." Humph! With a cold snort, Long Fei retracted his aura. Immediately, the disciples on the square were heavily gasping for breath, as if they had been pardoned. It was as if they had never breathed in their entire lives before. Long Fei turned and was about to leave. Mu Yao's tears rolled down as she said with a heavy tone, "On what basis? On what basis?" He shouted twice. Long Fei turned and looked at her. Mu Yao said, "Why should I? You're only a service disciple. What right do you have to teach me a lesson? You're only a lowly service disciple, and I'm only a high-level talent. In the future, I will definitely surpass you in cultivation. So what right do you have to say those words to me?" She almost shouted. If she didn't say it, she was afraid that she would explode. Long Fei smirked and laughed coldly. "Why should I? Just based on the fact that your father's cultivation is at level 9 of Clear Ran. As long as I am willing, I can enter the realm of ancient supreme elders. Do you understand now? Surpass me. You never had a chance in your life." As soon as he said the 3 words, Howren, Mu Yao's body trembled, and she couldn't hold on any longer and fell heavily to the ground, paralyzed. She had always thought herself to be very good, and had always looked down upon people weaker than her. However, such a service disciple had completely smashed her to smithereens. I don't believe it. I definitely do not believe that you are in ninth grade of Howard, Mu Yao said as he shook his head. At this moment, a giant rock landed, and an elder with a black jade token at his waist flew down. He landed beside Long Fei, bowed, and said, "Elder Mu Fei, why did you arrive first?" The surrounding disciples and elders were all dumbstruck at this moment. The identity of the black jade token, an elder of an ancient almighty powerhouse. How exalted was her status. But he was actually courteous to Long Fei and extremely courteous to him as well. At this moment, Mu Yao was completely defeated. Her little bit of pride shattered on the ground. Long Fei looked at Mu Yao and said indifferently, "Now you understand?" Then, Long Fei did not look at Mu Yao and said, "Clan Elder, the Undying Legion has already entered the God-living mountain. We need to increase our speed." The elder said, "I came because of an important matter. The Patriarch asked me to pass on a message to you. There is no need to find any more evidence. He will fully cooperate with you. I'm also going to meet up with the Patriarch and forcefully open up Turtle Mountain." As he finished speaking, the disciples and elders all felt as if a stone was stuck in their throats. Even the Patriarch was cooperating fully. This was a service disciple? Too deadly. And Mu Yao seemed to have been smashed to death yet again. Long Fei was startled. Did something happen? Elder didn't explain too much. "You will know when you go to the north." And then, as soon as his voice came out, it covered the entire eastern region. He said, "All disciples heed my orders and don't bring any heavy goods. I will give you 4 hours to leave the eastern region. After 4 hours, none of the giant pong will stay." After he finished speaking, the elders slightly bowed towards Long Fei and said, "Elder Mu Fei, the Patriarch is still waiting for me." With that, his figure disappeared. The surrounding people all looked at Long Fei with dumbstruck expressions. Long Fei did not look at them, but shouted, "Golden fur!" Roar! With a roar, the golden fur fell from the distance. The plaza shook violently. An elder exclaimed, "Immortals! Immortals! The fairy beast!" Long Fei leaped onto the golden-furred man's back and directly said, "Enter the mountain." The giant, golden-furred ape glared at him. The ground sank, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared into thin air. The fairy beast is his beast. Heavens, who the hell is he? Even the chief has to cooperate with him. In the beginning, it was only the god state, but now it's actually at Howren's 9th rank. Is he a monster? Fortunately, he did not kill us earlier. If he had, we might have died a tragic death under the pressure of idea. Many people looked at Mu Yao. Mu Yao was disheveled and in an extremely sorry state. She looked at Long Fei, who had disappeared in the air. She could have grabbed onto him or even embraced the towering tree, but now she looked like a beggar. She laughed self-deprecatingly. The smile was so helpless. "Mu Yin, oh Mu Yin, are you stupid? How many days do you have left? Of course it's a hurry up and take care of Mu Yao. You ran out to find me. You better not get into trouble, okay?" Long Fei was extremely anxious. Mu Yin must have gone to find him. This had all been in the past 2 days. If he couldn't find him, then he would go find the Undying Legion, because this was the only thing he could do for Long Fei before his life ended. Because Long Fei was his boss. Fairy beasts were exceptionally rare, and to kill them, obtaining immortal crystals was even more difficult. Fairy beasts were exceptionally rare, and to kill them, obtaining immortal crystals was even more difficult. Mu Yin was very clear on this point. He didn't want to bring Long Fei too much trouble. Thus, he chose to leave. Leaving the Mu clan, he helped Long Fei find the Undying Legion and helped him find the evidence. He hadn't thought of anything else. "Have you discovered Mu Yin?" Long Fei moved and asked the undead ghost in the Undying Legion. "Undead ghost, no. Haven't you found it yet?" "Sure. That at least proves he's still alive. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. The depth of Mu Yun's body had become so strong that even Divine Moon Realm experts would not be able to deal with him. And even Powerhouse of the Everlasting Realm would not be able to kill him even if they used all their strength. However, the Dead Legion members were all Powerhouse of the Howran Realm. No matter how strong Mu Yun's physical body was, he was by no means an opponent for them. Long Fei asked again, "Have you found the Undead Lord?" Undead Ghost. Neither. Master. They know that the elders of the northern region of the Mu clan are gathering their powers to open up the Turtle Mountain, and are heading towards the northern region. And there are spies in the north. Undead Ghost was a disciple of the Undead Lord, so he could easily grasp the plan of the Undying Legion. After listening to Undead Ghost's words, Long Fei frowned. There really is a spy. Actually, every family had one or two traitors, and that was inevitable. For example, in the large-scale games of his previous world, many families would have spies in their families, and once a city siege occurred, they would know the opponent's plan in advance. The Shins also had people arranged by the Mu clan. It was just that, hearing that his grandfather's family had a traitor, Long Fei was still a little unhappy in his heart. Long Fei asked, "Do you know the identity of the Mu clan's spy?" Undead Ghost. Only Undead Lord knows the identity. Long Fei said, "I understand. You continue to stay there. The moment you discover Mu Yun, immediately report it to me, and if the Undying Legion makes any other plans or changes their plans, immediately inform me." Undead Ghost. Understood, Master. The Undead Ghost was cultivated using the power of Long Fei's pubes. He was 100% loyal to Long Fei. Long Fei was not worried that he would betray her. Attack the north? Right now, they are forcefully opening Turtle Mountain. Long Fei moved and looked at the space ring's level +1. He really wanted to use it. Turtle Mountain required the strength of 18 ancient almighty powerhouse S to be activated, because Long Fei did not have enough people to kill two. If he wanted to open Turtle Mountain in this kind of situation, then he would have to forcefully open it. In this case, he would have to pay a huge price. Lifespan. At the cost of everyone's lifespan. It wasn't just a year or two of lifespan. It could also be tens or even hundreds or even thousands of years of lifespan. Life was incomparably important to anyone. Do I need to go back and help open Turtle Mountain? If I use level +1, then I will be at the realm of an ancient almighty being, which should allow them to consume less of their lifespan. But what about Mu Yun? Long Fei secretly thought to himself. Long Guangdao. Master, what you need to do now should be to buy time for the elders of the northern region and for the Mu clan S. Mu Tianhe has obtained 3 new gods. His injuries are stable and only need to recover his strength. If he comes out, he can resist the Undead Lord for a bit, but if the Undying Legion were to enter the northern region, then the entire Mu clan would probably be annihilated. Moreover, all of Mu clan's disciples are currently converging at the northern region. Long Fei said, "You're right. Even if I go back and help them open Turtle Mountain, the disciples of Mu clan have not gathered yet. If I can buy time for Mu Hetai, when all the disciples of Mu clan are gathered, I can enter the Turtle Mountain." And Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. A level +1 scroll is very precious. If I can first exterminate the Undying Legion, would I be able to level up? Thinking about leveling up, Long Fei felt his whole body boiling again. And then, Long Fei asked the Undead Ghost their current position. Goldfur. Southwest, 8,000 kilometers. The golden-furred man hammered his fist on his chest and said heavily, "Understood." Boom! With a leap, he leapt high into the air and charged straight into the clouds. In a blink of an eye, he was already more than 10,000 meters away. God-living mountain, nameless peak. An old man was floating in the air. His body was emitting a type of great power. It was very dense and seemed to be slightly fused with the world. It was as if he was the world. The old man stared at a certain direction. There were no obstructions in his line of sight. He saw a person, Undead Lord. The old man's lips curled up and he muttered, "Third brother, What do you try to do? Or do you mean? What did you find? Bringing out all of your hidden strength. This doesn't seem to be your style. So many years had passed. The power that the undead lord had built could be said to be very secretive, but to some people, this kind of secret was not even worth mentioning. Because this was the divine space, because this was a world controlled by the Xians, there was nothing that could be hidden from it. Undead Lord didn't manage to use the Undying Legion that he established a few times in his reincarnation cycle, but he had brought all of the Undying Legion's elites out now. And here he was in person. Annihilate the Mu clan. There was no need for such a large battle formation. Thus, the Mu clan must have something that the undead lord covets. The old man thought, what exactly was it that could cause the undead lord to use so much? The Mu clan's spatial laws? Indeed, the Mu clan's spatial laws are very strong, and is the strongest spatial technique in the divine space. But after so many years, the undead lord has yet to make a move, and instead chose this time? Clearly not. Mu clan's floating stone, the place where the space laws were born, is it a foreign stone? That's not it either. What could that be? The old man could not come up with anything immediately. Undead Lord had been very abnormal for the past month, but he could not find out anything. After a long time, the old man's brows furrowed and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. He said indifferently, I think over and over again that there is only one thing that could make him so crazy. Long Fei, Long Baishan's successor. Seems like that brat entered the divine space, and OL3 was the first to discover it. It looks like the old man frowned. The smile on his face became even wider, and he said, that brat is truly as the rumors say. He has Long Baishan's power in his body. If that's the case. He looked to the left. There was nothing to his left, nothing but transparency. However, his gaze was as if he was looking at a person, and it was filled with respect. It stopped for a moment. The voice suddenly sounded out in the air. Watch him closely. If necessary, you can kill him. The old man's eyes became cold as he nodded. Understood. Ha. His smile turned sinister. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Rumble. Several loud explosions could be heard from afar as they kept getting closer. The area within 10 kilometers began to tremble, almost like an earthquake. In the dark forest, a group of people wearing black robes and black cloaks suddenly stopped. Everyone's eyes were fixated on the direction of the sound. Suddenly, a dark voice sounded. The fairy beasts are approaching. There's actually a fairy beast? After another 2 seconds, the man said again, there is a person standing on the back of the fairy beast. Fairy beast as a war beast. There is such a genius in Mu clan. Lord, his target is us. Did he come here to die? Elite Wu, elite guard, cripple him. As soon as he finished, 2 black figures shot out of the dark forest like lightning, flying towards the source of the explosion. Looking at the giant ape with golden hair sticking out of its head, both of them glared at it with malicious looks in their eyes. At the same time, they brandished their death swords and heavily chopped down. Boom, boom. 2 booms sounded out. At this moment, in the sky above the dark forest, 2 figures descended. Bang, bang. 2 corpses fell from the sky. They were the 2 elite guards and the elite martial artist that had just flown out. Seeing this, one of the elders immediately became furious. You dare to kill my men? You're courting death. Boom! The elder rose up from the ground, the aura on his body forming pressure. Pressure was like a giant Buddha. The pressure was like a Buddha soaring into the clouds. A palm descended. Walala! Walala! As if the sky had shattered. The thick clouds were washed away, and an enormous palm imprint instantly landed on top of Long Fei's head, pressing down on his mind like a heavenly pressure. Peak of grade 9 Howren? This pressure, too weak. Long Fei stared at the center of his brows. The power of the Howren realm was released. Buddha, then I will create a monkey. The pressure began to take shape. He turned into a monkey with a huge stick in his hand. With a thought, a staff heavily smashed down. The Buddha body crumbled. The elder also spat out a mouthful of blood as his entire body plummeted to the ground. His face was pale as he said in a heavy voice, "Howren's ninth stage cultivation. My pressure is actually not a match for you." "I'll do it. Don't talk nonsense. Master told me to rush to the North District within a day. We can't waste time because of him. Leighton, you go." As one of the Grand Elders spoke, a middle-aged man walked out. His entire body was covered in black lightning. He looked like a middle-aged man, but he had the face of a child. Leighton looked into the distance. Rise. Crack, crack, crack. Numerous black lightning bolts became thicker and lifted its body up. In an instant, a black light flickered. Leighton disappeared from a spot. It was another instant, as he directly stood on the golden hare's back in front of Long Fei. The speed was too fast. Long Fei was a little taken aback. "Boss!" the golden hare shouted. Long Fei said, "Don't stop. You don't have to worry about me here." Leighton looked at Long Fei coldly with a face full of contempt and said, "Ninth grade of Howren, your cultivation is not bad, but..." His eyes were sinister as he spat out one word, "Die." As soon as he finished speaking, the black lightning on Leighton's body struck out violently, like a chain as it assaulted Long Fei. The black lightning carried with it a destructive power. Once it was bound, Long Fei would be in trouble. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly and said, "I'm going to die. Hey, the one who died was you. God curse." He formed a seal with one hand and cast it with a thought. Buzz. A fixed word appeared on Leighton's chest, and at the same time, a timetable for God curse appeared on his body. 5 seconds. Leighton was stunned. His world seemed to have come to a standstill, as did his attacks. However, his idea did not stop thinking. What happened to me? Why did I stop? What did he do? What power is this? Why can't my body move? While he was thinking about this, Long Fei had already unsheathed the ivory sword, glanced at Leighton, and chuckled. "Die." The sword chopped down. Bam! Leighton's chest was cut open, and his body slid down diagonally. Without waiting for his body to land on Golden Hair's back, Long Fei whipped his body in the air. Boom! Boom! He sent 2 kicks flying. He kicked the 2 halves of Leighton's body away. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Leighton for gaining 180,000 experience, 18,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Black Lightning Chain. The experience points is not bad. Over 1 million experience points. If that's the case, then there's a chance to level up. Long Fei calculated in his heart, and at the same time he thought to himself, Undead Ghost is right. Everyone is in the Howren realm. The 3 dead are all at the 6th stage of the Howren realm. And Leighton is extremely close to the cultivation of an ancient almighty being. If this legion were to reach Mu Clan, then the consequences would be... It was hard to imagine. I have to kill them all. Long Fei moved. God's Pavilion. God's Pavilion said indifferently, understood. The 5 undead ghosts all came out and quietly circled behind the Undying Legion. Long Fei said to Tong Tian Vine, Xiao Lu, treat me carefully. Little Green giggled and said, Understood, Master. Flower Fairy rolled his eyes at Little Green. All right, Gold Fur, charge. Long Fei shouted. The golden hair let out a roar, roar, roar. His speed had been raised to the limit, and his massive body was like a mountain as he charged forward horizontally. It was as if he was crushing everything in his path. The towering trees on the ground were uprooted and flew into the sky. The entire valley began to shake violently. However, the Undying Legion in the dark forest didn't panic. They were calm and collected. Not a single person had a hint of fear in their eyes because they were the Undying Legion, because of their strength. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 figures flew up and formed a triangular formation. They crossed their arms and hugged their chests. The dark light under the black cloak suddenly exploded and formed 3 beams of light that shot into the sky. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if a hole had been stabbed through the sky. Long Quang immediately said, "Master, it's the death-cleansing beam." Not waiting for him to finish, the beam of light descended abruptly. Boom! The Golden Fur Theater was too fast, and it was too late for them to stop the car. The first beam of light shot straight down on his shoulder. A large piece of flesh and a few pieces of flesh instantly disappeared. The wound was pitch black, and even the bones had turned black. A high-rank fairy beast with a golden fur giant ape's body was not something an ordinary divine beast could compare to. However, under the beam of death, the defense of his body seemed to be zero. Too strong. If this were to strike Long Fei's body, then he was reduced to nothing. Moreover, this was the first beam of light that descended. The Undying Legion had only sent out 3 ancient almighty powerhouses, and Long Fei couldn't even defend against them like this. Long Fei's eyes tensed up. F***CK his grandmother. I'm going all out too. Ding! Target locked. Long Fei roared fiercely. This father will sever everything. Delaying for time? Delaying for time? Killing was the best way. Furthermore, as long as the undead lord was not around, no one would be able to withstand his Empyrean god's berserk slash. After all, the god of heaven madman could instantly kill an expert that was level higher than Long Fei by 13 levels. It could be said that there was no one ranked higher than Long Fei in the Undying Legion. As long as it was locked onto, it would be instantly killed. Ding! Lock your eyes. The moment the system beep fell, Long Fei did not hesitate at all and shouted loudly, "Kill!" The Empyrean god slashed down wildly. Crash! The sound of space exploding could be heard. Rumble! As the sword cut down, one of the Undying Elder's body split into 2 halves. The hole in the top of his head turned into a 0 point. He was dead. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ancient Elder of the Undying Legion for obtaining 24,000 experience, 200,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Dark Scythe. Congratulations to player Long Fei. The system continuously sounded out a few notifications, causing Long Fei to exclaim in excitement, "Awesome!" 1 sword kill. There was no resistance at all. As long as one was within the instant kill range, they would ignore defense, ignore dodging, and as long as they locked onto something, they would die. Long Fei did not check the properties of the items, but turned and stared at the other clan elder. Ding! System notification, target locked. The sound of a locked-down notification rang out again. Long Fei said, "Cut." With a loud crash, the power behind the strike came crashing down. Walala. Rumble. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ancient Elder of the Undying Legion for obtaining 24,000 experience, 200,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining another instant kill. 2 of the ancient strong S who initially flew up into the sky to release their extremely strong power had died in succession, causing the Undying Legion in the Dark Forest to slightly tremble. What kind of power did that kid release? To be able to instantly kill 2 ancient elders, this power. Who is that? It's impossible for the Mu clan to have such a powerful disciple. To think that a 9th-level righteous noble would actually be able to kill an ancient elder. This is impossible. When did Mu clan have such a strong disciple? They were confused. There was a huge gap between the realm of the Howrah 9 Pin and the realm of the ancient great masters. Not to mention in a 1-on-1 battle, even 10 of the Howrah 9th Pin were not a match for an ancient powerhouse. However, Long Fei killed 2 people consecutively. Easy. He only drew his sword slightly and slashed down. He did not even aim at the incoming attacks. Each slash seemed to be done in a carefree manner. It didn't seem to matter at all. However, the moment his sword swung out, he instantly killed his opponent. The 2 ancient era's elders did not even have the chance to react. So strong? Could an ancient supreme elder be a bunch of chickens and dogs? That's right. To Long Fei, as long as he had the god of heaven's berserk ability, an ancient almighty powerhouse would be like a chicken or dog. He could teach him how to be a person in seconds. Kid, who exactly are you? Do you know who we are? You don't look like someone from the Mu clan, so I suggest that you better not get involved in this muddy water, or else you will die a horrible death. Not waiting for him to finish. Kill, Long Fei said again. The god of heaven madman's power was unleashed once again. He directly told them that the elder had been instantly killed. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ancient Elder of the Undying Legion for obtaining 250,000 experience, 210,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Congratulations, player! Another few notifications sounded. Long Fei glanced at the holy source value and muttered, "Damn, this heavenly god madman's consumption of holy source is too high. 3 slashes would consume more than 2 million points of holy source value. Luckily your father's level is high now." While they were talking, Long Fei poured a large bottle of spirit pellet into his mouth. All of them were high-grade pellets that could replenish the value of the holy source. Holy source had recovered 1,000,000 points. During this time, Long Fei did not waste a single second. His body sank, heavily rushing into the dark forest. His eyes swept around, looking at the black mass of the Undying Legion. His entire body emitted the cold aura of death. Long Fei shouted, "Who is in charge here? Someone who could be the leader must have a different identity. The most important part must be a higher cultivation realm." An old man with a white beard stepped forward. His eyes stared at Long Fei and said, "This old man has made the decision. Little thief, you dare to—" Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei said, "I don't have time to waste. If I don't kill this daddy's in-skill skill will go into its cooldown time." The system was locked. 1 slash in seconds. Boom! The white-haired old man's body was cut into 2 halves, and the wound on his head instantly turned into 0. Instant kill. Come next. Excuse me, who has the final say here? Long Fei swept his gaze across. Everyone present was somewhat stupefied. Long Fei was simply unreasonable. He was like a madman, killing 4 elders of the ancient realm consecutively. This? Lord, we don't know how we offended you, but if we offend you in any way, please forgive us. An old man said humbly, "I know you are definitely not someone from Mu clan. If there was a genius like you in Mu clan, I'm sure that you wouldn't stay in God-living mountain for the past 100 years. Also, we are the people under the undead lord. If you leave now, today's matter can't have happened in front of all these people. If you still rumble." Long Fei's sword slashed down, the corner of his mouth lifted. "Luo Li, you talk a lot, it's so annoying." Boom! The elder who just spoke was once again instantly killed. The disciples of the Undying Legion were all stunned. Long Fei was really unreasonable. After being killed consecutively, the rage in their hearts had also begun to boil. During this period, Long Fei quickly consumed more Spirit Dawn to replenish his holy source value. "Brat, you're too arrogant. I don't believe that you can instantly kill 1,000 people. Let's attack together. Kill him." All of a sudden, all of the Undying Legion disciples rushed forward. They were not afraid of death because their master was Undead Lord. Compared to death, they were more afraid of Undead Lord. Thus, following the order, all of them rushed towards Long Fei. Roar! The golden-furred giant ape rushed out violently and blocked in front of Long Fei. Long Quang also quickly said, "Third from the left, an old man with a beard. His cultivation is at the stage of an ancient supreme elder." Just as he finished speaking, Long Fei's gaze locked onto him. The system followed up with a lock. Kill. Rumble. To lock on was to slash. Once Long Fei's God of Heaven was released, he would be killed instantly. Right in front of us is the man holding the sword, Ancient Strong. Ding. Target locked. Kill. Long Fei slash down. They would be instantly killed if the target was locked on. Slash killed people, and they were all from Ancient Strong. However, the consumption of the Holy Source S was too huge. Long Fei had already seen the bottom of the groove for the holy source. No mana left. The consumption of Sky God Berserk attack was multiplied by several times. So even though Long Fei was constantly taking drugs, he still could not withstand it. The consumption of Sky God Berserk attack was multiplied by several times. So even though Long Fei was constantly taking drugs, he still could not withstand it. There were only a few points of holy source left after the last slash. Moreover, Long Fei had also finished eating all of his spiritual herbs. The Empyrean God, Maniac, was no longer able to use it. However, the Undying Legion charged forward crazily. "Damn it, gold fur!" Long Fei shouted. The giant golden-furred ape was also carrying on with its life on the line. Its body was heavily injured. In addition to the first heavy injury, its entire body was now covered in blood. Hearing Long Fei's voice, he immediately said, "Boss, I'm fine." Long Fei said, "There are benefits to having thick and coarse skin. I don't care if you're okay or not. Leave immediately." The golden-furred giant ape didn't really know how to react. To it, Long Fei didn't even know what fear was. Nor would he run. Was he trying to escape? The giant golden ape said, "Boss, are you trying to escape?" Long Fei glared at him and said, "What are you running away from? Would someone like to run away from me?" "I said to leave. The mission has been completed. You can leave now." He had already lost 7 or 8 ancient strong S. It could be said that this was a heavy blow to the Undying Legion, even if there were still a lot of ancient strong S amongst them, but Long Fei still had a trick up his sleeve. It would be impossible to kill all of this Undying Legion. If Long Fei stayed any longer, Golden Fur's ants' lives would definitely end here. He had to leave at this time. With such a large death toll, the Undying Legion definitely had to stop to rest and wait for Undead Lord's order. This bought a lot of time for the northern region of Mu Clan. What Long Fei needed now was the recovery of his holy source value, and after 24 hours, he would have to kill them again. If he were to do it again, the ancient elders in the Undying Legion would probably all die. The giant golden ape said, "Understood." Roar! It let out a powerful roar, causing the sound wave to vibrate, and the disciples of the Undying Legion were forced to retreat. Long Fei also jumped up onto the golden fur's back. The golden-furred ape stomped its feet heavily on the ground, and then directly leapt into the air. Several powerhouse S also instantly flew into the air. Long Fei grinned, his hand holding onto the sword, and said, "Are you here to send yourself to your death? Die! Kill!" The sword slashed down. However, this strike did not have any power. It was only a fake move. But too many people had been killed. The powerhouse S who were flying in the sky paled from fright and quickly dodged. It was also at this time. The golden hare landed on the ground once more, and with a heavy leap, he was already more than 10,000 meters away. When they reacted, Long Fei had already disappeared. "Chase!" An old man shouted. It was just that, at this moment, the 5 undead ghost S appeared and heavily shouted, "Why are you still chasing after me?" Everyone ran far away. "Don't tell me that you don't find death enough. Have you forgotten the order for Master?" With the appearance of the 5 of them, and with the addition of 6th brother who had been in the Undying Legion all this time, the 6 of them were now gathered together. When the crowd saw the respect in their eyes, they all fell silent. They were the direct disciples of the Undead Lord. While their cultivations were not the highest, they possessed the greatest power. Even those ancient era's elders did not dare to disobey them. In addition to the fact that so many elders had died just now, the Undying Legion no longer had a backbone. Now that the 6 of them had appeared, they became the backbone. "My lords, you finally appeared. What do we do now? The losses are heavy," the elders. The eldest among the undead ghosts took a step forward and said, "So what if they die? It can only be said that their lives are like this. Listen to my orders. Head towards the eastern district of Mu Clan." Everyone was taken aback. One of the elders said, "Sir, Master has ordered us to head to the north. Why are we heading east now?" Not waiting for him to finish, The boss waved his right hand and slapped his face. Don't tell me that even if Master changes his orders, I still have to report to you? Yes, yes, yes. That ancient elder didn't even dare to fart and could only nod his head. The boss continued. You also said it just now, we lost so many elders. We must take revenge and kill our way through the East region. We must make the Mu clan bleed like a river. First, let's go to the east, then to the south area, the west, and finally to the north. We must ensure that no one from the Mu clan remains alive. He was talking about an extremely violent situation. It was like he was enraged. However, in fact, Long Fei had taught him to say all this. This was also Long Fei's last resort. The east and north regions were in completely different directions. Furthermore, they were very far from each other. So by the time the Undying Legion made it from the east region to the north region, the people from a Mu clan would have probably entered the Turtle Mountain by now. With this slap, no one doubted Undead Ghost anymore, because he didn't dare. Thus, they changed their direction and turned towards the eastern region of Mu clan. Ha ha! A bunch of idiots. Long Fei laughed. The flesh that the God's Pavilion had nurtured was too easy to use just now. Unknowingly, the God's Pavilion had also collected the souls of the ancient elders from the Undying Legion that Long Fei had killed. He was once again in the process of accelerating his nurturing. Moreover, with the power of Long Fei's pubes, his rate of growth was extremely fast. Once the nurturing was successful, Long Fei would have 8 more ancient strong as subordinates. Ha! It seems like I have to kill more people in the future. After I kill the Undead Lord, I'll put him in the Xians. Long Fei smiled and became even more excited. Who would have thought that Undead Lord's direct disciple had already been killed by Long Fei, and the current Undead Ghost was Long Fei's puppet? Ancient Strong killed him in one move. Kill 8 people in a row. What kind of power is this? It is absolutely not something that can be done with Howren's rank 9 cultivation. Also, even if the sword in his hand is a divine rank, it can't instantly kill him. Killing people across borders while surpassing the boundaries of ancient powers is definitely not something an ordinary person can do. In the distance, atop a mountain peak, the old man looked in the direction that Long Fei had disappeared in, and he was extremely puzzled. He looked to his left. After a long time, a voice came from the left. Could it be that third bro is looking for him? The elderly's eyes turned cold. Big brother, are you saying that he is Long Fei? Long Baishan's successor? There was no sound from the left side, as if deep in thought. It stopped for a moment. The voice sounded out. I was only guessing. The only people who might know Long Fei's identity are the Undead Lord and that old cunning fox Mu Tianhe. The elder said, Big brother, do you want to inform third brother about what just happened? No need. He wanted to monopolize Long Baishan's power. He doesn't even want to see if he can eat it. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.